I'm at the point of content production now where like 3 weeks after we've done an episode, I forget we have done it.
Right.
And that's sad to me because like when we started the podcast, I would listen to like every episode afterwards.
I did too until
on the
like
next one, I would know what we
20-ish.
talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have to rely on my old man memory, and I'm sorry.
Well, luckily, with 4 old man memories combined, we can get one middle-aged man.
On this very day, someone was talking in the Arkham LCG channel and was like, "Hey, on an old episode of the podcast, they talked about doing a Dark Tower episode. Have they ever done that?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, you know, it's one of the rare times that in our server someone's talking about our podcast. So I was like, "Oh," I hopped in and was like, "Well, you know, I think we're still waiting on Ian to finish the books, but it's definitely still on our wish list. I would love it." And then Ian chimed in and was like, "I finished the books 2 years ago, asshole." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Clearly
That's
long enough for
amazing.
my old man brain to have forgotten that.
Mythos Busters, investigating the mystery, monsters, and madness of Arkham Horror, the card game.
Hello and welcome to episode 121 of Mythos Busters. I'm Sean. Joining me tonight on this glorious Friday night are my buddies Nick. Hey, Nick. Or should I say Wolfgang?
No.
Does anyone call you? Oh, it's Wolfie, right? Like your wife calls you Wolfie.
Constanza calls Amadeus Wolfie,
Uh-huh.
or Wolferl. But otherwise, yeah, it's a lot of Mozarts and a lot of Wolfgangs. We're not doing accents for it. I'm good, by the way. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And for anyone who doesn't stick around to your average technical time, Nick is playing Amadeus in an upcoming show.
I shouldn't have wooed
Amadeus.
myself. That was weird.
I mean, I'm into it. Go off, King. It's fine. Joining me tonight as well is Scott. Hey, Scott.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm ready to talk. Because that's about how much energy I have for things. Is I can only talk, so you're just getting full talking energy, Scott.
Okay, so just like laid back in the chair, arms slack at the side. Just
no,
the jaw moving, Scott.
My body is dead, so it's only my mind, and it's vicious. So
Wow.
here come some opinions.
All right, love it. Coming in
Well,
hot with the editorials tonight.
I mean, how else are we gonna raise our viewership, listenership, right? I gotta just start panning good cards again.
Well, I guess it's about time for Mythos Busters OnlyFans, I guess.
Oh, geez.
Missing tonight is Ian. Unfortunately, he's been a little sick, particularly with a throat issue, though not as far as I know the one we're all worried about. So we'll catch him on the next one. Guys, we've got a fun show for you tonight. We're gonna do our normal openers, and then tonight's discussion topic. We're finally, cause it's the new year. And it's what we promised. We're finally going to start to crack into the player cards of the Edge of the Earth player card investigator expansion. Is that the actual name of the real?
Yes, it is
thing
the
that
Edge
we
of the
bought?
Earth investigator expansion.
Okay, yeah,
Correct.
that one. We're gonna start in on that, and then of course we'll round it out with some tentacle time. But before we get to any of that, Scott, you want to run us through just some bullet points for BusterCon?
Yeah, it is May 12th to 15th, 2022 this year. It will be at the, what's it called? Game Center, and
FFZ for short.
FFZ or FFZ. It's the
If you
same
must.
place. Yeah, it's the FFG Event Center. If you've been there, they changed ownership. If you've been to Arkham Knights, it's that building. We have a hotel block booked off at the Hilton Doubletree, which is loosely approximately two soccer ball kicks. Allegedly. Two professional soccer player soccer ball kicks away.
As the
Backing
crow
down super
flies.
hard.
Whew. I
As
mean,
the crow ball flies.
Yeah, we'll say as the crow ball flies. So, you can just call them up and book it and just mention BusterCon. Or there is a link in the show notes as well that you can click. And that's good for Wednesday night through Sunday night for that. It's $122 a night, regardless of how many people you stuff in that room. You can get 2 queen beds, and 3 people room, whatever, breakfast included. We are gonna have
get cozy.
BusterCon. Yeah, we'll have to get like special sheets one year that everyone can
Sheets.
Yeah, custom Mythos Busters sheets.
Get your Mythos Busters bedding.
Yeah,
Waterproof. We don't
we
know
only
why.
we only sell them in like single race car bed size though. Like
It's a twin.
yeah.
Race car size beds.
And Princess Canopy bed size.
Of course.
We'll go with that too as well.
Those are 2 very different sizes there, Scott.
They are. Dream Eater's Iron Man is going to be on Saturday, of course, because Iron Man. We're going to have tons of stuff on Thursday and Friday. Bunch of massive multiplayer games, or epic multiplayer. And then Sunday we have lightly designated it as...
I feel like we can all but soft confirm it at this point.
Yeah, like Dead CCG Day, right? Like, I think everyone's going to be pretty full of Arkham by that point. So, I mean, there's going to be some Arkham stuff on Sunday, but there's also, like, I'm going to be playing Star Wars CCG and whatever other old game I can get my hands on, because I just love all that old stuff. So,
Yeah. You're free to play Arkham if you so choose, dear listener. You're not committed to only Dead CCGs, although you should try some of them out.
You are
Because there are going to be some good ones.
as it turns
Yeah.
out. You'll see. It's going to be captivating.
and I'm like, and old LCGs too. I know some people are bringing like Netrunner, and like old Netrunner. I'm gonna bring some Star Wars LCG because Ian has not played it. I of course will bring some Conquest because that game is just so good.
Well, it's what you're famous for, Scott.
I will bring, if I'm there for Sunday, I will bring like 5 Lord of the Rings TCG decks, and we can play a five-player game of that.
I've never played that game, and I want to play it so bad.
It's I think like Arkham's my favorite current game, but I think Lord of the Rings TCG is still my favorite card game of all time. Like,
It's a
I
very,
love
very
it so
fun
much.
game. Especially
And
especially if you're a fan of just like the trilogy, the movies specifically. It's very, very good. I'll have that as well. In addition to Star Wars CCG, I'm trying to think, what's the most like wacky ass card game that I still have on the shelves that I could bring?
I can bring Tomb Raider.
I gave Nick all my Fight Club.
Yeah, I could bring Fight Club.
I lost all my redemption cards in the Sunshine Storm of '99.
I have a big box of Rifts CCG, like
Ooh.
Rifts,
Oh my
the RPG.
God.
Yeah, it's basically a Magic clone, and it's terrible.
Nice.
But we got that.
I'll-
And then I also recently bought, like I saw it just on like Facebook Marketplace, someone was selling their old Star Wars cards, so I bought them, and they also happened to just like there was a box I found in the attic, but they also had this old card game. God, I'm gonna have to find it, but it looks terrible, and all the art is just like bikini women and He-Man dressed men. Like, it is just something Hyperion.
Oh wow.
Is
It
it
looks-
actually like a He-Man card game?
I know it's something weirder. I looked
boy.
it up and I was like, yeah, I'm not sure. I'll have to like search at some point during the show and bring it up in technical time. But it is terrible.
Oh,
So-
Sean, I've got like 6 decks of the World of Warcraft card game. Too.
Oh, we could run a raid, baby.
Yeah, I could bring a Nixie and just pound people into the ground. That'd be fun.
I'm actually surprised. Okay, so this is the last bit before we move on from this,
Right.
and I'm sorry everyone who's finding it tiring. You haven't mentioned Wars once, and I keep waiting.
I was
for
looking
it.
at it and I was like, I was just literally just staring at it. But I'm like, God, it's only 2 players. but it's so good.
But so
it's
is Star
only
Wars.
2 players.
Okay, so my thing is like I'm gonna hook people in with Star Wars CCG, and we can revel in how great that game is. And then I'm gonna be like, okay, now watch what happened when they actually refined the gameplay engine.
Yeah.
I understand
Imagine
that you're
this,
gonna feel
but better.
nothing for the property because you actually have to engage with it in order to feel anything for it. But like
Yeah.
the game itself is way more stable. I'm gonna go with.
See, and I actually am way more into the Wars setting than I am the card game now at this point. Like,
Well,
I
the
love the
setting's
card
fun.
game. But the setting is what I'm really like. When I think of Wars, I think setting, universe first, card game.
Yeah, but you have to
second.
drink a few gulps of the Kool-Aid before you get there.
True. So I'll bring some of that Kool-Aid. You're right.
Anyway, yes.
Hyborian Gates is
That's
the
a
name of the game.
Conan.
Yeah,
That's Conan.
That's Conan.
Oh
Yep.
God,
That makes sense why all the bodybuilder men would be in that one.
It just
Sean, were you saying Conan?
Conan. Yep.
Like O'Brien?
Sure.
God.
it looks like just image search that in Google. It looks terrible.
I mean, yeah, I know what Conan stuff looks like.
Like
so.
you want to see some like 90s CCG design. It's terrible. Anyway,
that's going to be on Sunday.
I don't know if I have enough cards to make 2 decks, but if I do, I will learn the rules to play this shit game. So, anyways, that's BusterCon. We will announce when tickets are up for sale, and yeah, we won't stop talking about it. So you will know when you can come. So, to the con.
Wonderful. So just another quick announcement. Dissonant Voices for Edge of the Earth is underway. We have recordings completed by both Nick primarily and also me, and other things going on. So we're hoping to have Dissonant Voices for Edge of the Earth campaign in its entirety released pretty soon. TM.
It's a lot.
There's a lot. There's a lot. But we are working on it, so we will definitely announce pretty loudly when that's out there. All right, moving on from there, we don't have any voicemails to catch up on this week, although I have to say, the discussion we had on the last episode about power creep, I actually thought was one of the better discussions we've had in a while. Not to yank our own crank too hard. If you have thoughts, we actually had a few people reach out to us on the topic, via like writing in email or various messages on social media, that sort of thing, or in Discord. If you have a thought, phone it in to 203-493-MYTH. That's 203-493-6984. That's the exact kind of thing that we would love to put in a hotline segment, is your hot takes on our hot takes about the current state of the power creep within the game. So check that out.
And then we could make hot takes on your hot takes of our
Just
hot takes.
Reactception. It's exactly what the internet wants right now.
Nested hot takes.
One thing I also forgot to mention, tomorrow is... Do you guys remember last year there was the Horrors Without Borders charity thing put on by Great Old Ones Gaming? And we streamed a 4-player game, and I can't remember what we played.
We did the War of the Outer Gods, didn't we?
Oh, it was War of the Outer Gods. Yeah. So, anyways, that's happening tomorrow, which is Saturday, January 8th.
Which is several days ago, for those of you listening on the RSS.
If you're on the RSS, I apologize. This is old news at this point. There's going to be tons of streaming content, though, that you can go back and watch. But last year they raised thousands of dollars for Doctors Without Borders, hence the Horrors Without Borders. So tomorrow's return to Horrors Without Borders at 5,000 plus last year. Woo! There's a sign up for Blob tomorrow. Sean and I, we are doing a
Sonic and Knuckles speedrun.
Yep. Speed run of the Dream Eater's A side. And we are doing that at, God, I gotta think in my time. So it's 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock my time. It was just mountain. So that's 10 to 12 Central.
Yep.
And 11 to 1 Eastern. Anyways,
Nailed it.
This is mostly for the people in chat. So I'll put some stuff in chat. Network showed it all there. Go back and watch ours. We're going to try and do it in under 2 hours.
What is it in Micronesia time, Scott?
I have no idea.
You're gonna try and do A side in under 2 hours?
Yeah.
That's
Oh wow.
effectively like 3.2 scenarios, right? Because like you can shortcut Kadath pretty hard if you're willing to.
Now you
Yeah.
gotta get that VP, man.
Yeah, well, I mean,
What
speedrun,
time-
baby?
Remind me what time you're doing it. I
10,
zoned out.
10 o'clock your time. In the morning.
Okay.
10 in the
All
morning.
right. I'll be at work so all right. I'll put it on while I'm at work.
Okay. I will be playing Ursula and Sean.
I'll be playing the Green Goblin, Sir Jack of Monterey.
Should be interesting to see how those two fare out together. I'm
Yeah.
super pumped.
Scott, I feel like as long as neither of us is falling asleep in our chair after this episode, we need to maybe put our heads together and get some deck lists down.
I mean, my deck list is pretty much already done.
Okay, then you need
it's
to help me
dubs,
with
but
mine.
Yeah,
It's
I'll help
dubs.
you out. It's dubs with slight adjustments. So
It's dubs with like clue scaling.
yeah, and we're gonna try and stay on the path. No, just kidding. We're not silly
No.
like that. We're not absolutely insane.
That's just crazy.
Who would do
But
that?
legitimately though, this is my first time actually trying to like get through Arkham scenarios as quickly as possible, as opposed to as successfully as possible. So we might want to talk about some strategy and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, wait. I tried to stay on the path.
Yeah, that's the joke. That's
Sorry, I was
the
looking for a
joke.
good Sonic and Knuckles gif, and I couldn't find one in time.
Anyway, that'll be up on our Twitch and YouTube after the fact. So if you missed it live, check it afterward. Lovely. Scott, what patron news have we?
I'll do the patrons.
Nick, what patron news have we?
Unless you really want to, Scott. But
No, go ahead.
Okay. We'll run through this real quick because we do have a big discussion today. But thanks to our board members, Chris B, Chris H, Chris M, our conglomeration of Chris's, Morton, Jared, Ian, Kyle, Philip, Patrick, Abilio, Jesse, Chad, Robert. It's really weird, Robert. I should have finished that before. But it's weird saying something that my brain is so used to Ian saying. It feels weird. I wish I miss Ian. Special shout out to a random patron this week is Ahmed Faris. Thank you so much, Ahmed. And then, as a reminder, you can go to mythosmerch.com. If you've purchased or won or have any of our swag, we would love it if you would take pictures of you sporting it and post those on social media and tag us. We love to see that out in the wild and see photos of all of our lovely listeners who have that stuff. As far as goals on Patreon, we've talked about BusterCon a lot. Obviously, we're still working on the goals that we've unlocked up to this point, including BusterCon, including the scenario, and obviously DV. So all of those are oncoming.
Both
incoming.
oncoming and ongoing.
They
Yeah.
sure feel
Downcoming.
oncoming sometimes when we set deadlines. It's like, oh God.
Right. So once again, thank you so much to everybody who supports us on Patreon. We couldn't do this without you. We couldn't do all of this awesome stuff, like have our own convention, without you. So thank you so much. And with that, let's just roll right into the news.
I see a red tide rising.
And there you go. Yes, we have a new article, a new parallel investigator, the one that nobody expected. Just kidding. Everybody expected to see this one. Red Tide Rising is the scenario in which we get parallel Wendy. And even in the parallel universe, Wendy still has her football helmet hair.
I do like the newer art, though, because she does look more orphanly, like, as a child. You know
I
what
think
mean?
she looks... I like the old art because I think the new one... She kind of looks like an old lady.
Okay, I am with both of you, and I don't know why. You're both right.
I just feel like the original Wendy is fine art. It just, to me, looks like someone who could be 17 to 20-ish.
Yeah,
Whereas,
she does look like a high
The
schooler
new
or
art
something.
is like, you are 10 to 12, and there is no way you are older than that.
And
that
I
makes
see-
it really weird, because...
And the new
It's-
art to me looks like she's like 60.
Like
I
she
think,
should have a
honestly,
cane in her other hand.
She's either 9 or 90. That is the two options.
It's actually Gloria wearing a Wendy wig. That's what it is.
Wendy helmet.
So all this talk about Wendy. Scott, do you want to read Parallel Wendy Adams for us?
Yeah. So she is Drifter, and now she is Blessed and Cursed traded.
What?
Yeah, she got new traits. Add Tidal Memento to your deck. We'll find out what that is later. Reaction: after you successfully evade a non-elite enemy, seal either one Bless or one Curse token from the Chaos Bag, or any Bless or Curse tokens revealed from the Chaos Bag during this test on that enemy. Elder Sign is +2. Search the Chaos Bag for up to 2 Bless and or Curse tokens and reveal them, ignoring their effects. She's still 7/7.
And then do you want to go ahead and just read Tidal Memento, because it's hard to judge Wendy without that now?
Sure. Tidal Memento. So it's a null-costed asset, and it's a little spiky seashell.
I believe it's called a conch.
Oh, a conch. Okay. Item and charm traded. Wendy Adams deck only. Permanent. Reaction: when an enemy would ready or doom would be placed on it, release a elder or curse token sealed on that enemy. Cancel that effect. And also reaction: during a skill test you are performing, when a chaos token would be revealed from the chaos bag, resolve or bless or curse token sealed on an enemy instead.
And if you hold it up to your ear, you can hear the sound of enemies wailing.
Enemies wailing?
Just making Murloc noises.
Because to me this is like, it's Innsmouth because it's a ocean thing, so I just thought of Innsmouth immediately. Wow, there's a lot going on here. This is much more like original Wendy was pretty straightforward. Just don't like what you get, try again. And this Wendy is like, do shit.
Yeah.
Like, no, work for it. So, I like it.
So how do you guys feel about the fact, and I saw this criticism out there, I don't even know if I care about it, but I'm just curious what you guys think, about the fact that the Parallel Investigator is based like entirely around Innsmouth specific Bless and Curse mechanics. Do you think that's problematic at all? Do you have any thoughts in that direction?
I mean, you're not spending money on this, so no.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I'm totally okay with it.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Like if we get a
Good
Monterey
talk.
Jack if we get a Monterey Jack parallel that does something with the explore action, I'd be fine with that. You know what I mean? Although that is actually tied to a campaign, whereas this isn't tied to a campaign; it's tied to the player cards from that came out at the same time.
Yep. And the
but you get what I'm
tokens
saying.
themselves.
Yeah.
Not
So-
that the Parallel Investigators are designed, or I don't even know if they're conceived to be like new player friendly at all, but I was just kind of curious because if you get the core set and you just want something new, you go to the Parallel Investigators. This one's not going to be playable right away.
Right.
And I think the abilities too that we've seen, like this is like the Parallel Investigators are not meant for, like Nick, like you said, not meant for new players. This is meant for people who have played a lot of Arkham and trying stuff out. And we can kind of see in the design too, where Maxine and Jeremy, like, these are some off the wall designs on some of them, like compared to what they used to be. Network also mentions in chat that you need certain expansions for their quest or their scenario.
That's
Sure,
true, too.
yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that.
And Wendy's is based on the disappearance of Alina Harper.
Okay.
So, one other thing I just realized we should mention is her deck building changed.
Oh, sure.
So, still deck size of 30. Trait choice. At deck creation, choose Blessed or Cursed, or choose both and gain +5 deck size. Then, deck building options. Survivor cards level 0 to 5. Neutral cards level 0 to 5. Cards of your chosen trait 0 to 5.
Damn.
So you can choose Blessed 0 to 5, Cursed 0 to 5, or both 0 to 5, and then you'd have to have 35 cards in your deck. But like that's better than Mateo.
Yeah,
as
this is
far as
the only
access.
investigator that can actually run Blessing Curse on their own.
So she can run most of the cards out of
Yeah.
like the Innsmouth cycle.
Yes.
That's pretty huge.
That's amazing.
She's Wendy, the sea urchin.
Oh boy,
Yeah, I know.
I actually like that. Good job.
I don't hate it.
I thought of that off the whim. I'm very proud of myself.
Gosh, like another part of the argument of like, oh, should these investigators be so crazy? Like, or should they be tied to whatever specific expansions and content that's locked away behind buying another product? Like this is a crazy Wendy design, and I think I would much rather see something crazy that's a parallel than. I keep going back to Daisy, who was our first one.
You'd rather crazy than Daisy?
I would rather crazy than Daisy. I don't remember what Daisy was like. Like Skids, I remember. Oh yeah, he's like Highlander Skids or whatever, low deck size. Roland was like Lily 0.1, or Lily 1.0, I guess.
Sure.
Agnes was an actual blood sorceress this time, which was really cool. But I don't remember what Daisy did, and I think her being the first one, she kind of. And I'm just going off of this is just a knee-jerk thing. I think she was more of a safe design change for Daisy.
Sure.
And you guys could probably correct me or not on that because I think you guys have played with her actually. So
I have a bit. She's one that I would categorize as overbalanced.
okay,
Not unplayable. Never mistake me saying one for the other.
right,
But perhaps a little overbalanced.
sure.
Yeah, I think also the designs got a little crazier.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like, and I kind of like that, right? Like, Nick or Sean, do you want to read Wendy's advanced relic or amulet and weakness?
Wendy's amulet is a 2-cost asset. It has a willpower and 2 wild icons. It is item and relic traded. Wendy Adams deck only advanced. You may play any event in your discard pile as if it were in your hand. And forced after you play an event or discard an event from play, place it on the bottom of your deck instead of in your discard pile. And it takes up. Is this the exact same with just an added icon?
No, because it's
Discard
normally,
an event.
Well, okay, so Wendy's amulet got errata, so it's the forced is the same on both.
Okay.
Because it was the whole you could use...
and in your discard pile as if it were in your hand. Never mind. I swear I understood the words that I just read.
So before it used to be only the top card of your discard
The
pile.
top event, yes.
And now it's just your discard pile.
That's good.
Yeah, and the forced is the same because it was the versatile Wendy using premonition. Because premonition, you would just go back on the top of your deck. You can do it a bunch of times. So anytime there's an event out, like a trap, like a snare trap or something, when it leaves play, it doesn't go to your discard pile. It goes to the bottom of your deck.
Okay.
So the only big difference is willpower icon and any event in your discard pile instead of just the top one, which is huge.
That is huge.
Yes.
That was always one of the hardest parts about trying to actually play with the amulet is trying to get the timing down on and making that effective. Okay, so then Advanced Abandon and Alone, AAA as we call it at the Mythos Busters offices, is a madness weakness.
That's what you mean by AAA?
That's right.
Oh God, I had no idea what those memos were for the longest time.
Revelation, remove all non-weakness cards in your discard pile from the game.
Ooh.
If no cards were removed by this effect, shuffle this card back into your deck. Otherwise, take 3 direct horror. That stings.
Wait, when would the otherwise trigger?
If cards were removed.
Yeah. So if no cards were removed, do this. Otherwise, take 3 horror. So remove all the cards.
Take 3
sorry.
horror.
No, sorry. Remove all blah, blah, blah. It's from the remove. So you remove all the cards.
Mm-hmm.
If no cards were removed, shuffle this card to your deck. Otherwise, take 3 horror. So wait, do you remove all the cards and then take 3 horror?
Yep.
That's what this is like the worst weakness now. Like
Well,
this
I
is
mean, it's
Baron
only a step
Samedi.
above. It's only a step above normal abandon and alone. Like normal abandon and alone is remove all cards in your discard pile from the game, take 2 direct horror.
No way. Is it really?
It really
Yeah.
is.
But this
And
one,
you
if there's no cards removed, he just shuffles back. The other one could whiff.
Oh, if you had an empty discard pile, it would just whiff. See, and I would read that as, oh my god, I don't know. That seems insane that it takes all your cards and smacks you for horror. That
Yeah, it's a bad weakness.
Yeah. Network has it correct in the chat here. Remove all. So he parsed it differently and clearer. Remove all non-weakness cards in your discard pile from the game, then take 3 direct horror. If no cards were removed by this effect, shuffle this card back in your deck.
Yeah, see, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That's definitely a better way to word it.
Yeah.
So
her amulet's much better, but this
Yeah.
weakness
Yes.
is just a backbreaker. 3 direct horror.
Yeah. Oh god.
You know, I have this this really fun memory of Wendy. This is a slight aside. It was one of the first times, actually I think it was the first time I ever streamed Arkham with you guys. And it was the core set playthrough, and Ian was actually playing Wendy, but he couldn't make it, and we were playing Midnight Masks.
Yeah.
And I played Wendy, and I ended up drawing
Tom
Abandoned
streamed
Alone. Yeah, and I just took 2 direct horror and got knocked out. And I remember feeling bad because I got a horror trauma.
On Ian's, yeah.
Yeah, and Sean, I remember you saying, like, oh man, wonder how Ian's going to feel coming back to see, Wendy's got a trauma. And, like, looking back at that now, and I
what
was
a
like,
dick
oh man.
thing to say, first of all.
Well, right?
How's Ian gonna feel that you just face planted his game?
But also, like, the idea of face planting it, it's 1 horror going into the final scenario.
Right?
And, like
who fucking cares?
Like, since TFA and
Yeah.
onward, since that, it's like 1 single trauma. Like, yeah, right. That doesn't faze me. And then, like, we have Into the Thick of It. Now it's like take 2 trauma.
Oh, yeah.
Gain 3 XP, and everyone's like, thanks.
Isn't it the other way around? Isn't it 3 trauma for 2 XP?
No. It's 2 in any combination
Okay.
Yeah.
for 3 experience.
Okay. All right.
And,
That's
like, everyone's
slightly
just
better.
scooping that up, and I felt bad for a single trauma going into the final scenario of the core set. Oh god, those were the days.
Fun
Anyways.
stuff. Anyway, so Parallel Wendy.
Seems
Sounds
bonkers.
like she's gonna be pretty fun.
Oh,
Seems
yeah.
absolutely bonkers. Even, like, ignoring her ability as far as the front of the card about stealing stuff, just the fact that she has complete access to either cursed or blessed or both.
Hey, well, good news, Scott. You can run the backside
Yeah.
with old Wendy if you want.
And think about backside Wendy with normal front side, and then suddenly you're just like maximum token
right?
fuckery.
That actually sounds really fun. Like, this is cool too.
Well, found my
But-
next deck.
Yeah, right?
That's amazing.
Because you can just go fishing for him.
So quick poll. I know we're at lots of varying levels of interest for the offerings of the parallel investigators. So among those represented here, which of the parallel investigators themselves have you just played with? I've tried everyone but Wendy up to this point. No, I haven't tried Skids yet. I did one standalone with Skids, but I'm not going to count that.
I've only played with Roland, and it was for a stream game, but I can't remember what it was. It was a standalone stream game that we did.
Okay.
I have definitely played at least one scenario with all of them.
Okay.
And I know I've played Skids, probably Skids the most. Then
Why do I find that not surprising?
Survivor Access, right?
Yeah.
It seemed.
Also, you're
it's fun.
Skids guy.
Am I?
Aren't you?
I guess.
If not you, then who?
Right. It's not Ian somehow.
I'm anti-aircraft gun Skids. I think it's for me. It's Skids, Agnes, Roland, Daisy, in that order of most to least played, and also most liked to least liked. Roland and Agnes are really close. I like them both, but Skids is far and away my favorite of the 4 so far, and I obviously haven't played Wendy yet. So
Yeah. How about the scenarios that go with them? Because at that point, I fall off farther. I've only played. I played Burn, Read or Die.
Burn after reading.
No,
No, that's
Read
the
or
player
Die.
card. Read or Die.
Burn After Reading is a player card, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I've played Daisy. I've played Agnes, and I think those are the only actual like special scenarios I've tried.
I've not done any of them.
I haven't played Roland's.
Which one
I
is
don't think.
Roland's? Is his just Midnight Masks?
Oh, is his Midnight Masks? I think I have then. I can't
Someone's is Midnight Masks. I don't remember who.
remember. Yeah.
No, I'm waiting. Like now that Wendy's out, I'll probably end up printing a set of everything,
Yeah.
and then I will play the parallel scenarios.
I've
Yeah,
generally
Roland's is
enjoyed them
Midnight
so
Masks.
far. Last time I played Agnes's, we got absolutely just dumpstered by the RNG.
Sure.
And that's on YouTube for everyone to watch. Go check out our Return to the Night of the Zealot Iron Man campaign that Ian and I played. We got brutalized in that scenario.
I remember popping
So-
it into that at the end of the first scenario, and you guys were like, "Oh, that was good." It was like kind of this like
We had to work
Skin-
hard during the
skin your
gathering.
teeth win, but it was like exciting. I was like, awesome. And then I came
Mhm.
back when you guys are finished. I was like, hey guys, how's it going? And the first comment I saw in chat was like, wow, they got bodied.
We absolutely did. It was
So
rough.
when you were built, did you build Parallel Daisy?
No,
Or
I
did-
did parallel Agnes for that one.
Okay, and you did Parallel Agnes's scenario in that.
Mhm.
Okay, did you include her advanced weakness and signature before doing the scenario, or did you hold tight to the whatever? I don't know if they're rules or the guidelines or whatever, but
I think that I held tight in that I was
Really?
waiting to upgrade the signature.
sure.
So I didn't take them for the scenario, but I might be wrong. I don't know. That one went awry so quickly. I don't even know if I got to experience either of them. So yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway. Okay. Well, fun aside. Let's check back in when we've tried Wendy. She seems
Yeah.
super interesting.
Mhm. And like her scenario is, like I said, the
It's
search
Alina
for Alina
Harper,
Harper,
Yeah.
and she's looking for her dad, which just also makes me sad.
Oh
Yeah.
right in the feels.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, you are an orphan. Oh god. Oh. Yeah.
You are an orphan. You have
Mhm.
no parents
Yeah.
to take care of you.
Do you remember way back when we were talking about the core set, and someone said that rotting remains are Wendy's parents?
Oh no.
Oh,
Now I do.
that's terrible.
Right? Because like, why does this orphan have a house? Oh, that's why.
Oh, God.
All right.
That's terrible.
Well,
Let's move on.
That's fun.
Yeah, now that I brought everybody down.
Scott, what rules do we have?
We actually have something. Basically, it's a recap, but it's of regarding additional actions. But it's really important because Bob Jenkins has an additional action. I'm going to thank Philion for bringing this up in our what do we call it now? Our Mythos Busters Inc. chat, which is our patron chat on the Discord. So if any of you remember way back in the day, I think I went over this, but basically with additional actions, like, so let's talk about Daisy. Daisy has an additional action that can only be used as a tome, or used on a tome action, right? And basically the rules say, if an investigator has one or more additional actions during their turn, the first action that they take that is able to qualify as that additional action automatically uses that action.
Right.
So the first time you use a tome, it's using Daisy's action.
Yeah. So
this is-
Leo is for your first action
Yep.
of every turn is Leo action. Yeah.
Exactly. Which means if you like play or you use your Leo action and then your second action Leo dies somehow, you could
Right.
play another Leo on your third action. He'll grant you another one.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or sorry, no, it's
Yeah,
if you
that should work.
Yeah,
right?
he would. He would.
yeah
Because you
okay.
played a different copy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there you go.
But you
There's-
would still, you wouldn't, even if you didn't play a second copy, you play or you use Leo's action, and that triggers an attack of opportunity that kills Leo, you still have 3 actions left.
There it is.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's how that works. If an action qualifies as more than one of an investigator's additional actions, you may choose which additional action is used. So if Daisy is using a tome action and she somehow has Leo, which is an easy example, I don't know, versatile.
Sure.
Okay.
Versatile solves all problems.
That's true. You're right.
And her first action is a tome action. She could choose one or the other.
Right.
If an effect causes an investigator to lose one or more actions, that investigator has fewer standard actions than like this. It says lose 2 actions, and you only have 1 action, and you have a special one, then you will lose both. But
Sure.
if you have 2 regular actions left and Daisy's tome action, it says lose 2 actions. You lose your 2 real ones first.
Yeah, you're baked in. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then if you only have special actions remaining, or additional actions, sorry, I should always say additional. If you only have additional actions remaining, then those are lost in the order of your choosing.
Okay.
So, all that to say, Bob says, you may take an additional action during your turn, which can only be used to play an item asset from the hand of an investigator at your location, under their control. Both investigators, blah, 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 spending costs. The key to this is the first, like, let's say the 3 of us are at a table, and I, as Bob, play down a flashlight.
Okay.
That I can now not use my special ability to look at your hands and play an item.
Oh.
Because the first time I play an item from the
Yeah.
hand of an investigator at our location, which is me, that uses his action. So, if this is like a big setup turn, it's the first turn, and I play down Schnoffner's catalog to have extra resources, I can't then help you, like, I can't then
Wow.
play out yours. So the first item you play has to, if you want to use this ability for someone else, it has to be the first item asset you play that turn.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They almost should have just worded Bob like Leo. Reaction after your turn begins. Put an item into play from from the hand of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would. I mean, because I don't know how many times I broke the rules playing him. You know what I mean? Because I would do that. I'd play Schaffner's catalog, and then I'd go hunting through, Lola's hand looking for something to play. So
Yeah.
Does, Scott, to your knowledge, does that meaningfully limit any prominent combos or anything like that? Or like, we know when that came up, were people immediately like, oh, so we can't X, Y, or Z now?
I think, honestly, Schaffner's catalog and everyone else at the table was
Sure.
basically like the combo.
All right. That's fair.
Schaffner's catalog and other players.
Yeah, and every other item in the game. I don't think there's any combo. Like, it doesn't break anything. It just, I think, limits some of the flexibility that I think a lot of people, myself included, thought Bob had at first read, right? And Maka brings up in the chat too. He wants to find out if the developers and testers kind of forgot about that rule and played it as if it was any time, because it's like, oh, you may, but take an additional action, but by the rules, it has to be first. Now, that being said, Maxine is also the person who will say, play how you want. So
I will be ignoring that rule.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't ignore
not
many,
if you play
but that
Bob
one,
with me.
I mean, I don't ignore many, but that one just seems like that is unnecessary rules parsing for me.
yeah.
I respect it, but I'm going to ignore it.
Yeah. Whatever makes the game fun.
I only ignore the rules I don't respect.
Like Taboo.
Like Taboo, exactly.
Yeah. So, and since I've only played Bob solo so far, it doesn't matter. So,
Right. No, problem solved.
yeah. That's how you can get around the rule, Sean. Just play only with yourself.
Yeah.
Phrasing. Okay.
All
Anyways,
right.
That's been your rules update about additional actions.
Woo.
Get fact.
Questions, comments, concerns, gripes, bitches, or moans?
That was a goat. I don't know why it sounded kind of like a
That
dolphin.
was a goat. I was gonna say I thought you were doing a dolphin.
All right, so let's crack into the Edge of the Earth player card review. So we're going to do this a little bit differently. We're trying something new out with the new release format.
Alphabetical.
That's right. Alphabetical. Subdivided by card number.
Encounter cards and player cards. Alphabetical order.
So we're just going to start taking chunks out of the player card list in subsequent episodes. We're going to try to get through Guardian and Seeker cards tonight. We might do that. We might not. We're just going to continue on until we get through the card list. And then at the end of everything, we're going to talk about the investigators that released alongside these cards and what we think of them. So, yeah, that's how it's going to go this time. Let us know if you like it better or worse when we get to the end of it. All right, so let's start out with the... Oh, go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm geared up and ready to go, so...
Woo!
Whenever we want to start.
Scott...
Geared Up is a Guardian null-costed asset, talent traded, permanent, limit 1 per deck, purchase at deck creation. Forced. When your first turn of the game begins, play any number of item assets from your hand, reducing the costs of each by 1. During this turn, you have 3 fewer actions to take.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that card that you like, Sean.
It's like one of the better Guardian cards that exists, a.k.a. Ever Vigilant.
Mm-hmm.
Except it's significantly more limited.
Yes. It's good. I haven't used it, actually.
I have.
But, yeah, okay, you have, and you obviously like it. And also, Brandon from Optimal Play has played it often, and he loves it. So I feel like I'm missing out. I feel like I should start including it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm playing this currently in a Mark build
Sure.
that is kind of maybe a little bit more of a flexy Mark than most people are used to, because I'm playing him in 2-player alongside Lola through Edge of the Earth. And Geared Up was kind of like, I want to try a Geared Up deck.
Right.
I think I was a little light on my item/asset mix. I like to run Mark with some fun events to kind of spice up his turns. But I feel like to get like full use out of this, is you get this at deck creation. It's not like you can remove it, and it's forced.
Yeah.
So this is your deck for the remainder of the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Which is maybe my only criticism of it, because by the time I get to the later scenarios, I've upgraded some cards. I want to start looking at like maybe some upgraded skills or events, but it just kind of weakens this. That said, putting Ever Vigilant on like stick to the plan and being able to just like barf out a bunch of stuff at the beginning of the game is really good. Mm-hmm. And at level 0, this is a pretty decent way to also kind of do that. The big thing is, I think this is limited to items. If you could also spit out allies or...
Yeah, like physical training or something.
Yeah, like literally, if they added like 1 or 2 more traits to this that it targeted, I would be way more on board with this card. The fact that it is limited to items really, really kind of dictates the mix of your deck that's required.
Right. What do you think is like the item minimum that you should have to consider Geared Up?
That's a good question. Let
8,
me see what I took.
10?
I think at network at least 3.
My 1 flashlight, my 145.
Yeah. And Roland's gun. Got it. Oh man, I want to say like 15.
Yeah, I think I'm
Wow.
I'm like 10 or sub 10, depending on what point of the campaign you're hitting me at. And I feel like most games, if I'm getting 2 cards out in the first turn, I'm feeling okay about it.
Really? You feel okay if you get 2
Okay.
actions on your first turn?
Just okay.
I would feel, if I didn't have 3 every first turn, I think I would feel bad.
You're
Well-
also gaining 2 resources though.
Yeah, that's the
essentially.
thing, is it's also a resource boost.
Like if you
For Guardians? That matters.
yeah.
I mean, 1 action, 3 resources, emergency quiche, core set.
Yeah, that you can
I
put
don't
on
know
stick
why
to
I
the
threw
plan.
corset in
I mean,
Yeah.
you're not wrong, but
I don't know. It's scary. It's scary. You know what I mean? To
It's a
have to
big
put this in your
commitment.
deck. Yeah, right? So, I don't know.
it's a pretty heavy squeeze, and I'm not fully convinced that the juice is worth it.
Sure.
But it has been interesting to play around with, and it makes mulliganing a very tense process. Let me tell you.
You know where I would probably include this hands down, no question, is if I were playing a Guardian killer in a 4-player game. Because I know I don't need to worry about clues.
Sure.
I know I don't need the contingency stuff. I just need to get my shit out. So,
And I think you always include backpack in this deck and
Yes.
upgrade backpack early, because if you can like first turn play out backpack and then start playing things out of your backpack with
And just
this,
pull
Sure.
like 6 cards out of your deck in the first action.
yeah, and you're just like vomit it out. Especially if you're like skids and you have another day another dollar with 2 leveled up backpacks, like 9 resources, and everything costs 1 less, and you're oh my god. And what if your backpack finds a backpack? Like you could, just
although
puke
I
your
think
deck on the table.
I think it was Network said earlier, the backpack combo with this. Maybe it wasn't Network. Now I'm missing who said it. Oh shit! But someone in our chat, please identify yourself. They said that if you it was Sub-Zero Joe. Thank you. If you play backpack with this, you don't search for items with backpack until after this card resolves.
This card is trash.
Because you
Instant-
play all 3 items at once, and backpack is after it enters play or whatever. So
Absolute trash.
Yeah.
Sub-Zero Joe, you ruined it for me.
It asks so much of you, and the payoff is so narrow. It's just tough.
whoa, Sean, I actually thought didn't you say I like this card?
No, I
When we
was struggling to
started?
like it.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you were pulling a me where you start positive and then talk yourself into negative.
No, I mean, I really wanted to like it. I fully admit that at 2-player, my deck list was not good for this card, so I was setting myself up
Sure.
for failure.
Okay.
But like again, I just feel like the fact that it's deck creation, you can't get rid of it. It only targets
Yeah.
one trait among the assets you want to play, and like items are important for Guardians, but they are not the only thing that Guardians care to play.
No.
I really think it's significantly more limiting than you want it to be for what it's doing.
I think, yeah, Nathaniel Cho, in a post-Nathaniel Cho world, Guardian has skewed further away from items than it was previously. Like, Nathaniel Cho and then Innsmouth and then, what are we in? Edge of the Earth. Like, those 3 releases, there's some good items in there for Guardian, but there's a lot of good stuff that are events or other assets. You know what I mean? Stuff that's fun and unique and interesting, and it isn't just another gun or whatever. So that's why I said the only way I would really find a home for this is, I think, 4-player, I'm killer, let's get geared up.
Yeah.
Like items specifically, I'm running a ton of items in my deck because the problem
yeah.
is like if you only get 2
Grenades,
items out of
guns.
this, like
Yeah. First
I
aid
just-
kit or whatever that thing's called.
But remember, if you get only 2 items out of this, that's action gain 2 resources.
I mean, yeah.
Look, I don't want you guys going toe to toe over this
Yeah.
card, okay?
Toe to
I will
toe.
read this. Oh,
Go ahead. It's all you.
okay. Toe to toe is a 0 cost
I like how
Guardian event.
we talked about toe to toe, but then we both backed off.
Combat, agility, icons, spirit, and tactic traded. Fight is the game text. This attack deals +1 damage and is automatically successful. Okay. As an additional cost to perform this attack, the chosen enemy makes an attack against you.
Hacha!
I mean, okay.
Is that Calvin in the art? Because it should be.
Oh my!
I don't think that's Calvin in the art.
No, but it should be because
It
it's a Calvin
should
card.
be.
Yeah.
Well, or a Daniela card. But
Yeah.
even not in Calvin or Daniela, I think that you could still find an opportunity for this, thanks to stuff like Dodge, Guard Dog, Lesson Learned, and other cards that trigger when you get attacked. I don't know. I mean, it's good. free attack, automatically successful, +1 damage. All you got to do is get a hit. I like it.
I mean, skipping the chaos bag on an attack can be very, very clutch.
Yes.
Especially a bonus damage attack.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you positioned yourself in such a way that you can either cancel or absorb or do something with that attack, this is a really good card. I've run this in Daniela is the only one so far, but Scott, as you said, this is a very good like early Calvin card where you can just like hit the enemy before you have any reason or any business hitting the enemy.
So
Nathaniel Cho.
Yeah. He's got good soak, even built into his deck, right? Like,
and then +2 damage off of this.
Then an additional damage ping.
So,
sorry, Scott, go ahead.
Some little rules minutia that I think actually makes this better. You can still commit cards to this test.
Yes, you can.
Oh!
And when something is automatically successful, it means the difficulty is lowered to 0. Just like when you automatically fail, you know what I mean? So any succeed
So this would
by
proc
this
like a
amount.
succeed by 2 or something.
So
like
vicious blow 2, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oof, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it's level 0, right? Like this can go in a lot of, like if you're doing skids, succeed by 2. Yeah, it's
And look,
nice.
I understand that in general we're all pretty precious about our health and our sanity, but they are just resources to spend.
They are.
So I
unless
think
they're 0, they don't matter.
Exactly.
Right?
I feel like this is one you look at in a lot of decks that can take it because it's pretty good.
Well, until you're playing Wendy and you draw your weakness and you get slapped with 3 direct horror.
Yeah, I mean that's
God, 3 fucking. Oh my God. Anyway,
it's just so upset by it.
Yeah, I'd really versatile this into Wendy for.
All right, we'll move to Get Behind Me, which is a level 0, cost 0 Guardian event. It has a willpower and a combat icon. It has spirit and tactic traits. Fast. Play during any free triggered action window, right? Free triggered ability window. What is the like actual technical term at this point?
I think it's free triggered ability.
Free
I get
triggered
yelled
ability.
at sometimes. It's a Tesla window.
A Tesla window.
Thanks, network. Anyway, until the end of the phase, whenever an enemy would attack another investigator at your location, it attacks you instead, then engages you. Cancel 1 horror dealt by each attack made in this way. So I've played through a couple of campaigns with Daniela at this point. Like I know we've already talked about how she's like our first like real tank investigator. I mean, also looking at Tommy, but you know, Tommy just likes to take hits. He doesn't necessarily like pull things at him. Danielle is insane. This is a really good Daniela card. Probably better in higher player counts. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. This is also a good Zoe card.
Sure.
Because this gets you at least 1 resource in Zoe. The funny thing is, Sean, I just remember that like you and I will be playing come Iron Man, the one team up that part of this, like the fact that this cancels horror is also, that's just icing on the cake. Like that's really nice.
It is good.
And you're running Daniela and I'm running Carolyn, and I think every time you play this card, I'm just going to shake my head and be like, you're flushing money down the toilet. Stop canceling that
I'll
horror.
just run Taunt instead. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
Riot Whistle.
There it is. Ultimate Taunt.
Network brings up Heroic Rescue.
Sure.
Which is quite similar. I mean, Get Behind Me is like it controls the mobs, right? Because it's every attack.
You can play it at any time. And it hits elites even.
No, Heroic doesn't.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Get
Behind
Behind Me hits elites. You can play it during any phase. Yeah,
I mean, that's why I'm calling it the tank card. Is it's literally you throw this down on a location, you're like, all right, y'all, do whatever you want here, and I got the enemies. Get behind me.
Yeah.
Thematically, it's perfect. I think it's really good from at least a Daniela perspective because she can take the damage in and of herself. She's got 8 health, but then she's also going to be running things like guard dogs and other soak, to take that damage and do something with it. And then canceling the horror just really helps kind of, I guess, not hit her weakness a little bit harder. And by weakness, I mean like her Achilles heel, not her actual weakness. Yeah. Her sanity.
I think I like this too, where it's until the end of the phase. So if you're all in the same, like, you know, those times where you're all on the final location or where you got to be, and you just have to go through like a pile of clues, and you have your two cloovers there, and someone else's flex, and you're playing someone like Daniela. You go first. You play this, and then everyone else can just like take their turn, start, and like, oh, actually, I'm going to investigate. Attack of opportunity. Just kidding. You go to the tank, and they continue with their life.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So.
And Jeff points out that this card says cancel. It is a Diana card. I particularly love the idea of Diana playing this and then like following it up with a storm of spirits and hitting like 3 enemies with it. That'd be pretty fun.
And then all her friends.
Right. Well, it's a thing that happens.
Guys, don't gang up on Diana.
Oh.
Gang up is a 3-cost level 1 Guardian event with a willpower and a combat icon, spirit and synergy traded. Fight. For each different class among cards you control, you get +1 combat and deal +1 damage for this attack. This card can get bonkers good.
It can, yeah.
Yeah. Especially with all the multi-class cards that we have now, like with the triple class cards. Oh my god. Yeah.
So, but at its worst, well, okay, not at its worst, but average time, you're paying 3 for +2 fight, +2 damage.
Yeah, paying 3 for 3.
I still think, like, I don't think that's a bad trade-off. 3 is a big cost, especially in Guardian, but we've gotten a lot of ways to accelerate resources in Guardian, so I don't think 3 for +2/+2 is bad. I'm assuming, of course, that you have your off class out or whatever. You know, you have Roland and you have Guardian and Seeker. Obviously, if you're doing 3 for +1/+1, like Network points out in chat, then you don't do that. You don't play it at that point.
Are neutral cards considered a class?
No.
Okay, that's important.
Right. Yeah.
And a key thing about this too, your investigator, whatever's on the front of them, unless you're Lola, like that counts as a card you control. So,
right.
Yeah.
So you could play this action 1 hypothetically, and you'd still be getting +1 and +1 damage. Not that you should, not that it's good, but you could.
No.
Right. But that's what I was saying. Like, the minimum you play it is at +2/+2, and I think that's still good. And then it only goes up from there.
Yeah. I think I'd want to see +3/+3.
Oh,
is where I'm like, this is now worth it.
Right.
Like +2/+2 is okay. Like three costs.
So this is like a mid to late game card in most decks, right?
Because you need
to get
set
to
up.
+3/+3 is not going to happen super quickly for most decks.
I mean, depending on like if you like,
most
there's so many
decks.
No, but there's so many multi.
If you turn one,
now.
play Prophetic or whatever, one of those 3 class cards, then you're set.
Sure.
Then there's your +3 right there. So.
But think of something like Yorick, right? Like he has Survivor and Guardian access. If he takes any multi-class item that has a class that isn't those two,
right,
and there's a lot of good.
But that's the thing is
cards.
it has to be an asset. Like if you're playing Tommy and you take On the Trail, that's not going to help you with this card, even though that has Seeker on it. It's an event. So you got to make sure you're getting those assets that have the multiple. It's build dependent, obviously.
Yeah.
So
have either of you tried a true synergy deck yet? And if so, out of whom?
I have not, but I want to.
I attempted to build Lola synergy like 3 times, and every time I panicked when I got to like the cutting phase and abandoned it. So I never finished the deck build.
I actually like co-built not a full synergy deck, but it utilizes synergy with Brian David Sandberg, and it's Snow White Fairmont. So it's Preston, but it's like 2 rods of animalism and all like the sled dogs, stray cats, whatever.
Like Disney Princess Preston.
Yeah,
animism. Animism, not animalism. Animism.
No, it's got an L in there.
What? No, it doesn't. Does it say
Animalism.
animalism?
Yeah. Anyways,
You're right.
so Antiquary has you can pay for favors, relics, and rituals. And this gets, so Preston has what's it called? Rogue, and then all the animals are Survivor. Then Antiquary gets him Mystic and Seeker. So
Okay. So you
there's a
can
couple
get there.
synergy cards in there.
Also, why do we hate furries so much? Are we afraid about what they might say about ourselves?
Yeah, this art is like, and what's this guy like? He's bringing
it's a
a
ghoul.
hammer. Like,
Is it a ghoul? Is it a
That's a
werewolf?
ghoul. Or it could be a werewolf.
Yeah,
I assumed it was a ghoul.
A werewolf?
Horwolf.
Werewolf.
yeah. Also, the grip that guy on the right has on his weapon just looks weak.
Yeah.
Is that a
He
He
hammer?
looks
yeah.
like, he
Is that a
looks like
bloody
he's
hammer?
he's painting the blood on the werewolf.
Yeah.
And a happy little blood spurt here.
He... There's no mistakes, just happy accidents.
Put a little curly afro on the dude on the right. We'll call it good.
Oh.
All right. Sean, do you want to read?
I sure
Sweeping
do.
kick.
Sweeping quick is so it's a level 1 guardian event. It costs 1. It has a combat and an agility icon. It is spirit, tactic, and trick traded. Wow, those are important traits. Fight. Add your agility to your skill value for this attack. This attack deals +1 damage, and if you succeed, automatically evade the attacked enemy.
This
It's so good in Leo.
Well, here's the thing. This is what I was
Go.
going to say. This feels busted because it's 1 cost, 1 experience, so everything's low on it. You add your agility to your combat, you get a bonus damage, and you automatically evade the enemy. You get so much out of one cost event. It feels busted, but then you're like, it's only like the fact that you're adding agility, like that's the limiter right there. Not every guardian's going to take this. A lot of them will, because even a +2 from your
Yeah, I was about
agility,
to say, like at
that
worst,
might
it's
still
a
be worth
+2.
it. Yeah, but
Or
Leo
a +1, I
specifically,
guess,
like
there.
you said, yeah, that wouldn't be good.
Well, I mean, Network's pointing out in chat, like, this is a skids card, because that's going to bring him up
Oh,
to
yeah.
7. Rita can take this. This also hits bosses, because it doesn't say non-elite.
Does not say
Right.
non-elite. That's
Oh,
very
I know.
important.
My Lily build used this a lot on elites.
Like if
Like-
that first scenario of Arkham Horror, the card game, taught us anything, it's that like if you could play this on the Ghoul Priest, you would.
Oh yeah.
I've played this in Lily. I mean, you know, maybe it's a little on the nose, but it
That's
was
why you
good.
took it.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
You know, though, I feel like this ability itself, like, I mean, I'd still be okay playing this in Mark or, like, Zoe. Like, honestly, any Guardian that's going to be the chief combat person, right? Like, it's adding the agility, but maybe I don't care that much about it. Like, my combat's probably at a 5 or 6 to start, so if I need to boost it a bit, I can. This is already going to boost it, like, at least 2, right? Unless Leo's the lowest at 1. I don't think there's another 1.
I don't think there is either.
Right, as a guardian, it gets you that 2 damage, and it also evades using your fists.
It evades, which is something that guardians have trouble with generally.
And it's so good, particularly if you're like designated killer, because so often you'll go 3 turns with not a fucking enemy to kill. And then everyone draws enemies in the same Mythos phase, and you're like, God damn it, you guys, can't you space it out a little bit?
Yeah, and you just need to control the board a little bit.
Yeah, and you just need to control the board. So like you engage things, maybe possibly you just attack things where they stand. This is a good way to just disable an enemy, but you also do some of your work on that enemy for eventually when you need to get around to actually killing it, but it stabilizes the board a decent amount. Also, as I found on Lily, this could go on Stick to the Plan.
Oh yeah.
It's maybe not the best choice, but I enjoyed it.
It's nice to have when you need it. As that's what Stick to the Plan's for.
I've played this so far in a 2-handed campaign, and I put it in Yorick along with Stunning Blow, and it's just like he's just the fist evader, and
Oh
Now
boy.
sleep.
yeah,
Now sleep.
yeah,
I'm one of the investigators I'm playing for Dream Eaters Iron Man is Carolyn, and I thought, I could put this in Carolyn. But I think I found another investigator who probably wouldn't care about this too much because she's 2 combat, 2 agility. So I'd be going from 2 to 4, which is, I'm doubling it, but at the same time, like, that feels like playing this and getting to 4 before a test doesn't feel good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas,
what about Daddy Chuck in a skids
it is
build?
tacked it. Oh, yeah. Make this fast?
Fast, you get plus
Give
2
you plus
skill value,
2?
or make it free.
No, it's a 1 cost. I think a rogue would be fine paying 1 for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Daddy Chuck would be best served with this card to get the plus 2 and make it fast.
God, that'd be insane. Add your agility, plus 2, and it's fast. And it does 2 damage, and it evades them.
It's good.
Chuck Fergus makes like every event just through the roof, so
and
it's kind of hard to compare. Like every time you can say this event with Chuck, it's just like, oh my god, it's a wet dream of an event, right? Because Chuck just so.
Oh, did I step away while we were talking about Daddy Chuck?
Well, I just said in skids with this, you could Daddy Chuck it, so it's add your agility plus
fast.
2, and it's fast. Yeah,
and it's fast. Yeah, so you're testing at 9. Oh.
I may or may not be growing out a like Daddy Chuck beard for BusterCon. I'm gonna try for it. It's a goal of mine.
Sweet for our cosplay competition.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so defensive stance is a level 1 guardian skill. I'm just gonna go right through.
Yeah.
Practiced expert. Traded while defensive stance is in your hand or committed to a skill test, it gains combat icons equal to your agility and agility icons equal to your combat. So, point A, I love this design, and I'm so happy that we got one for each class. Spoiler alert. Point B.
Number 2. Yep.
Yeah. Just a moment ago, I said sweeping kick in Carolyn wouldn't be great because it only gets you to 4. Well, look at this. Defensive stance, that would help. So, okay, if I were to commit defensive stance to a sweeping kick test,
you add your combat. It would add combat icons only.
Yep, because you're committing to the combat test.
But I'm adding my agility.
But
correct,
it doesn't count those icons.
Why not?
Because you're not committing it for an agility test.
It's a combat test.
But the test is using both skills.
Correct. But that doesn't matter.
I don't like this.
Okay.
As in, I don't like this rule.
I've gone through this entire song and dance when we had Spectral Razor and Read the Signs and Astral Form or whatever added. I was like, oh,
that's the worst. Okay, never mind. This doesn't necessarily make it into Carolyn now, but I mean, this might. But sweeping kick would anyway.
I think in Carolyn, if you're using sweeping kick and defensive stance, like you're pushing really hard to make an investigator
I'm not playing
do something.
Carolyn right. Yeah.
Like you're trying to, make a fish climb a tree kind of thing.
Right.
It's pretty decent when you have like when one of those stats is high, because then both of those stats is high.
One thing to point out too about this is the reason it's worded the way it is the text on skill cards is only active when they're committed to a test.
Yes.
Unless otherwise said. So, Sean, is it Steadfast, that card you always liked? What's the skill where it's Steadfast?
The one the will based on
And while you have 5 or more remaining health status, whatever.
Yes.
So while you're at full health, while it's in your hand, and let's say you're discarding it in Essex County Express, it only has the icons it has printed.
Right.
It doesn't gain the +2/+2 until it is committed to a test specifically. Right. So these ones are, I don't want to say
even
better,
worse
but different.
In that way.
Yeah,
these are suddenly because the encounter
stance, it's better.
Yeah, well, because the encounter deck has changed on how it looks at icons and how it looks at skills and that sort of thing. So this is the answer to that. You know what I mean?
Right, but these ones specifically are bad in Essex. Is that correct?
No, these are better in Essex
these are better.
than Steadfast.
Yeah.
These are better.
Because if Essex
because
says
of how this is specifically worded. Got it.
Yes, because it says while it's in your hand.
Yeah, so you can discard it or whatever. So
makes sense.
These are usually giving like a +2 at least.
Yeah, you're generally looking at like a +2/+3 or a +2/+4. Yeah.
And that's not bad.
No, not at all. Because you usually need more help with the lower one, and that's exactly what this does. So this, unlike Sweeping Kick, Leo might actually run this if he needs to evade.
Yep.
Joe might run it if he needs to evade, because also he can take what do you call it? Practice makes perfect. And this is practice.
Oh yeah,
Use it twice.
Nice.
Or Roland too.
yeah. Roland would be a 3 and a 2, or no, I'm sorry, a 4 and a 2.
I dig it. I dig it.
I think Scott's next.
Sure. Butterfly swords. 3 cost, level 2 guardian asset, combat and agility icons. Item, weapon and melee traded. Action, fight. You get +1 combat for this attack. After this attack, you may exhaust butterfly swords to fight again, adding your agility to your skill value for that attack. This attack deals +1 damage, and it takes up 2 hand slots. So you can do 3 damage in kind of 1 action, except it's 2 tests.
It's 1 action, 2 tests, yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes it complicated.
Yeah. I mean, the second test is like the big wallop,
Right.
right? Because you're adding your agility. Hopefully that is more than a +1.
I mean, you'd have to hope. If you're running this card, I'd have to hope.
Yeah, unless you're Leo with butterfly swords. Oh, Leo's just getting a lot of it today, isn't he?
I mean, we're just picking on him because of his low agility.
Yeah, he can't run. That's why he can't get
Yeah.
away.
I think we all know
Gonna
who
gang
these are
up on him.
for. Like, this is like one of those cards where it's like, okay, like Daisy has Old Book of Lore. This is actually Lily's signature. Well, this or Dragon Pole, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so the 2 hand slots is the hardest part for me on this weapon.
Mhm.
And I understand thematically why that is. But the nice thing is, like, even after you exhaust it, you can still continue to fight with it. You just only get the first fight out of it. So
Yeah.
you just get the +1,
+1.
which, I mean, is barely a bonus.
Yeah.
I have a
You get
hard
the
time.
knife.
Yeah, I have a hard time justifying level 2. 5 is easier for me.
Do we want to jump to 5?
We might as well.
Sure. Okay, so level 5. I'll go over the differences. Basically, it is level 5 now, same cost. You get an additional wild icon. And the text is action fight. You get +2 combat for this attack. After this attack, you may fight again, adding your agility to your skill value for that attack. If both attacks are successful, you may exhaust butterfly swords to have the second attack deal 1 damage. Still 2 hand slots. So
the only reason you get 2 is to make 5 cheaper later, right?
yeah, and you know what though? I'm looking at this and I'm looking at 5 XP, and I'm thinking of
And 2
other
hands.
weapons, and 2 hands, and I'm thinking of other weapons that are
Okay,
5
but 3
XP.
cost.
But the difference is that you don't run
Okay.
like this is specifically for the investigator, the guardian investigator, who has moderate combat, moderate or high agility.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Mark is never going to take this over the bar. He just isn't. But
Yeah.
Lily is never going to take the bar. You know, she probably won't. But this probably looks a little more enticing.
I guess I look at it too. Like, this is 3. So this is 1 action. You can probably do 2 damage reliably, hopefully, but it's over 2 tests, and once per turn you may make it 3. It has no ammo,
Right.
so it never runs out. Then I look at something like Time Worn Brand, which is also level 5 and is neutral, and it's just a +2 combat, +1 damage. So it's 2 damage, 1 test. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just, this doesn't blow me away. It feels like at 5, like each attack should be.
So you're saying like this and Time Worn Brand is like that meme of the skateboarder. So like the skateboarder falling on his nuts is Time Worn Brand, but the skateboarder doing the sick ollie kick flip, grinding down, and then falling on his nuts is this.
Yeah.
I agree. I would agree with that.
He steps on a rake, doesn't he?
Oh yeah. Lands on a
guy
rake.
stepping on
yeah.
a rake, and this is just a long walk to stepping on a rake. Like, it's. Yeah, I just don't know if 5 XP is worth it
Right.
compared to other things.
I could even take this at 5 XP. The hardest part for me is the 2 hands. because that.
What else are you putting in your hands?
Well, no, I mean that's just it. That's exactly it. It's nothing. You can't put anything else in your hands.
So you're good.
So I took this in Lily, and then I was gonna upgrade into another copy of this, but then I was like, well, let's try the Cyclopean Hammer because everyone who has access to the butterfly swords also has access to the hammer. And
also known as Mjolnir. Yeah.
Oh boy, there is not a whole lot of comparison. I'm sure like there are corner cases and whatnot, but for like, I like quick games. If I don't have to do 2 tests for effectively the same damage, I'm going to do that, even if some of those tests will fail more often.
Well, and it's not like also like with these multiple tests, it's different math each time, which I know this is such a first world problem. But like if I'm investigating 3 times,
that's mental.
Right?
That's mental bandwidth you have to spend.
Yeah.
But if I know I'm investigating 3 times at this location, I'm like, okay, 8 versus 4, pull, right?
Sure.
This time it's like, okay, +2 this time, and then the agility plus this time. Okay, so 1 didn't succeed. Okay, so next action I'm gonna do it again, and okay, they both succeed. Now I'm gonna exhaust, and yeah, Big Kahuna did the math. So Time Worn Brand is 6 damage over 3 actions and 3 tests. Butterfly Swords, this one, is 7 damage over 3 actions and 6 tests.
And 6 tests, yeah. So you're playing with the bag more.
And meanwhile, the rest of the table is planning their mutiny.
Although it should also be said, like, Lily is part mystic, which means she can do some pretty significant token filtering. Granted, level 0. So, like, that's the thing. Like, this is like it's a Lily weapon. You don't run this in anybody else. You know what I mean? Like, who else would take this? Honestly,
I'm having a hard time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Davi says Zoe likes more chances to draw an Elder Sign. Well,
I mean,
okay.
That's not wrong.
Sure.
Big Kahuna does say 6 tests is 6 chances to draw the Elder Sign. But it's also 6 chances to draw the auto fail.
Right? Yeah, exactly. We all agree that
and you sure should know which one I'm going to remember.
We all agree that avoiding the bag is better than going at it hardcore. Like, no, I'm going to draw 3 tokens for these tests.
Yeah.
I say that, but I love token filtering decks.
So I'm very meh on this one. It's cool. It's fun. It's not like it's unplayable by any means. It's nice and cheap at 3, which is cool. I would love to see some more bonuses for running melee cards, especially for Lily in a post-Lily world where she like really, really, really wants you to run melee cards. Things like Warning Shot or Eat Lead, even though I know those are both actually kind of terrible examples. But what those do for guns, I'd love to see very similar things for melee. And then I might look at this a little bit harder.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
So moving on from there, let's go to an upgraded classic. So we've got level 2 Dodge, which is 0 cost. It has a willpower and 2 agility icons. Tactic traded, fast. Play when an enemy attacks an investigator at your location. Cancel that attack. Then test agility 1. If you succeed, deal a damage to that enemy.
What's with all these anti-Leo cards?
Yeah, I would say Leo doesn't take this, but anyone else?
One of the consummate exploration expedition investigators just hates so many of the cards that come in the the expedition box.
Yeah.
I mean, have you looked at Leo? He's not getting out of the way of anything.
Yeah.
He puts something else in front of it.
He is the way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I like this.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to me, and Peter mentioned this on what's that other podcast called? They named it after a card.
Lesson learned.
Gets you 2 clues.
Yeah, lesson learned.
Is it Rite of Seeking? No, that's the blog. Mind's Eye? No. Anyways, that other show about the purple card there. Peter mentions one of the key things about some of these events when they get upgraded is going down to 0 cost, and how important that is.
That is very
because
important.
it means you can always play it. And that was the first thing that jumped out to me when I jumped out. When I read this card, I was like, oh, it's free. Like that instantly. I'm like, that's half of it. So that's half the value to me.
I'm personally of the mind that even level 0 dodge is undervalued in today's meta.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of things you can do to grant someone like a free attack of opportunity, or like, hey, don't worry about it this turn. Like dodge itself, level 0 dodge is really good. 2 experience to bring it to level 0, and also like give you the ability to ping for a damage. That's pretty good. If you're Nacho, that becomes 2 damage. If you're Daniela, as long as this isn't an attack of opportunity, then that effectively becomes 2 damage. Although Daniela may not hit that agility test, though.
I just realized that this
Daniela can't take this. I'm doing the class conflict thing again. Mark it on the charts. Wipe the whiteboard clean.
Yeah, restart the clock.
This has a counterpunch baked into it, and then you can play counterpunch after you play this.
Hell yeah, you can.
That's
brother.
amazing.
Rope a dope.
It's the juke and jive.
It's so good. Like, and the fact that dodge level 0, even that it hits anyone at your location. It's not just you. You know,
and it doesn't delineate elite or non-elite.
Right.
This cancels anything. Like Hastur can be swinging in for massive damage and horror, and it's like nah.
Yep. Oh,
and
ping. Slap back. Yeah.
Diana, like on standard, like you're already 2 up on this test.
Yeah. Like I run level 0 dodge in most of my Diana decks. As I've mentioned, I think it's underrated, and just the idea that it pays for itself in a Diana deck. This then just like you get resources for playing this in a Diana deck. It's very, very good. And Diana stands a decent chance of hitting that agility test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if she's taking her combat training.
Haha.
Yeah, combat training. A level 3, 0-costed Guardian asset. Has 2 combat and 2 agility icons. Talent and composure traded. Game text reads, fast. Limit 1 composure in play. You get +1 combat, +1 agility. Non-direct damage or horror must be assigned to combat training before it can be assigned to your investigator card. Zappy Boy, spend 1 resource. You get +1 combat or +1 agility for the skill test, and it can soak 3 damage or 1 horror. So I have gone on record saying I'm not a big fan of the level 0 composure assets.
Level 1?
Level 1, thank you. I think they're fine, but I'm always worried that they're going to get taken out right away. And to be honest, I never really gave them a fair shake. I judged them just...
What's the one you've played the most?
I've never played any of the level 1 ones because I just judge them based on how they look. I ran this. I played this and I ran this. And I was like, I have been sleeping on those level 1 versions. Like, it stayed in play for a long time. And it just needs...
Plucky.
Okay. Sorry I didn't ask back. I probably should have. That would have been the polite thing to do. But I was trying to make a point.
Plucky is correct, Sean, yes.
My point is it took the level 3 for me to like the level 1 version. And this is really good because it gives you the natural boost, which is awesome. And it at the very least, it gives you boost and soak. And if it stays in play for longer than a couple of turns, then you've got some additional boost there as well. So
and it's 0 cost, and it's fast.
Yep.
Like, that is just insane.
It's really good.
Yeah. So good.
Also,
all these composures are good. Like, I think we're going to rant and rave about each of them. But
well, most of them.
Yeah.
Also, the art is amazing, drawn by one R.J. Palmer. And like, quick aside, if you haven't checked out R.J. Palmer's realistic Pokemon renders, would recommend.
Yes,
you're welcome.
R.J. Palmer is a phenomenal artist.
So glad when I saw them, like, because they did a bunch of like Star Wars ones.
Yep.
And then we saw some stuff in Arkham. Pretty cool. Anyway, much like Pokemon, let's go on the hunt. We're on the hunt.
On the Hunt is a level 3 0-cost Guardian event. Willpower. I'm still laughing over that. Willpower, intellect, combat traded. It's tactic traded. Fast. Play when you would draw an encounter card during the Mythos phase. Instead, search the encounter deck for an enemy. Spawn it engage with you instead of its normal spawn location. Attach On the Hunt to it and shuffle the encounter deck. then reaction. When you defeat attached enemy, gain 3 resources. This is so bonkers good.
This is dumb.
Like, it just...
It's so good, it's dumb.
The ultimate Scorpion card, right? Get
It's
over
amazing.
here!
Search the whole deck. Like, searching the whole deck alone.
Yup.
Probably not 3 experience worth, but that's amazing. Hey, why don't you just pick an enemy? Just pick one. You know?
Well,
Any
and I
enemy.
think-
You want that victory point this
Yeah.
turn? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, too, like, the original one, we had all these grand plans about how to, like, oh, you can play On the Hunt, and you can find this enemy and combo off of these cards, like Scene of the Crime and stuff like that. But sometimes it would whiff, or sometimes you'd pull out an enemy where you're like, I can't play Scene of the Crime because I need to deal with this 8
Yeah,
health
like,
monster.
now I...
Right?
What
Like,
was I thinking?
I really screwed myself. This one is just like, have you played this scenario before? Yeah, you know what's in the deck? Cool.
Yeah.
You're good. Right? Like, this is just... And then on what's it? Where the Gods Dwell? Trying to
Yes,
find
yes.
Nyarlathotep. Yep.
Also, this with any aloof enemy,
Mm-hmm.
because it spawns engaged with you.
Especially the Wizard of the Order.
Yeah.
Spawn
Any
the farthest location
cultist.
from you. Right in front of me, and I get $3 when I kill you.
Yep.
Which in Guardian, again, the resource part, right? Like,
Yes,
0
yes.
cost, and now I'm getting 3.
I like the idea of playing this in Miskatonic in extracurricular activities and just using it to pull out whippoorwills and then punch them and turn them into coins.
As Zoe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that you-
so you get 4 resources.
They engage with you, you gain a resource, you pay a resource to ping them with the cross, and then, like, in the Mythos phase, you gain 3 resources. This is a Guardian cancel that pays you.
In Soviet Russia.
Scott, Network brings up an interesting point. In Miskatonic Museum, how does this work if the horror's in play? Do you just not draw Mythos? Do you just not draw an encounter card?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah. Instead, search the encounter deck for an enemy. I think so.
I mean, good luck getting 3 experience by Miskatonic Museum, but that's a different...
Well, yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering about you have to play, when you play a card, it has to change the game state. And I'm wondering if
Sure.
shuffling the encounter deck changes the game state.
Changes my
'Cause-
game state.
Because just playing a card cannot be the thing that changes the game state. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well, you can play it, and then you can also, like, rotate your damage tokens a little bit or something, I guess.
Yeah.
You feel like you went on a journey personally, and that changes
Davy
the
brings it
game
up.
state.
You don't know that it won't change, but you do know. But you don't know. What if there's an
Yeah.
enemy in there?
Yeah, I think because it's he's right because it's a hidden
Random
zone.
deck is random.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think this works, and you would just whiff. Yeah.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Also, it's a good way to just get the hunting horror out if you want
On,
to.
onto the killer, right? Who
yeah,
can deal
onto
with
the
them.
person who wants it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
Very
way to
nice.
proc, like kill enemies, do things at enemies' locations. There's
Yep.
some really cool
Mhm.
combo ability with other investigators. Like someone could play this across from someone who's playing Trish
Mm-hmm.
and potentially do something cool. I don't know. I
Mhm.
love that it searches the encounter deck, the full encounter deck.
that's amazing.
That's
Yeah.
my favorite part on this card. It's just like go get anything.
Yeah.
I can't wait to
Excellent.
use this to make some stupid combo in some scenario.
Like potentially then do a Falcon Punch across the map with Fang of Tir-Thraha.
You should. Oh yeah. I was gonna say you should just make everyone angry and do on the hunt, pull a big enemy, and then handcuff them, and be like, "Now we don't have to worry about it." And everyone's like, "Why didn't you just kill it?"
Wow.
No, wait. I'm out of here is level 0, right?
I'm out of here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so any guardian that can have access to level 0 rogue.
Leo.
Well,
Finally,
Leo's
it's time in the
around.
sun.
Yeah, Zoe.
Leo pulls the shrug
Yeah.
off, and where doom awaits, and then just.
I'm
gets
out of
out.
here. Yeah. Grief points.
All right.
Is it me? Or is
Yes.
it someone else?
Razor
Okay.
Fang.
So Fang of Tir-Thraha, which is the green enemy in War of the Outer Gods? No, he's in the new one, the newest one. Machinations Through Time.
Machinations Through Time.
Tirthaha is in that one. Anyway, sorry, spoiler alert. There's a big monster in that one. So it is a level 4 3-cost Guardian event. It has 2 combat icons and 2 agility icons. It has a spell trait, which is important. Fight. Choose an enemy at any revealed location as the target for this attack. Wow. Before resolving this attack, you may move to that enemy's location. Add your agility to your combat for this attack, and this attack deals 3 damage. So, plus 3 damage. Thank you. So 4 damage anywhere on the board, and if it works for you, you can move there too.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then in everyone but Leo, you're getting at least a +2 to your combat for this one.
Oh, Leo's back in the dumpster.
Yeah, I know. Just off he goes. This is a really good card.
Juff asks, does that enemy teleport across the map? No, that enemy just stays
it.
where it is. Well, you either go through it or you open like a portal, stab the knife through it, and then that's that.
This is the Far Sight from Perfect Dark.
This lets you play as Spot, the famous Spider-Man villain.
Nice comeback or callback.
Me or him?
The Far Sight from Perfect Dark. Sorry.
Damn it. This isn't a gun, though.
I know, but
prove it.
It doesn't matter. Anyways, I love this.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
4 experience, 3 resource costs. That's not nothing.
It's not nothing.
Those are big costs, but it's well worth it, especially for the characters that are going to be looking at this for spells and stuff like that. Yeah. It's. I think this is awesome.
And I think this offers a really unique opportunity for in 2-player or even above when you have like a killer and a clover. And if you want to split up and you can tell your clue person, like, don't worry.
Yeah.
Whatever shows up, like I have this fang, something's going to show up and I'm just going to like, it's going to roar at you and just a knife's going to pop out through its neck. It's going to drop dead in front of you.
Surprise, motherfucker.
You're right. It opens up. It opens up options. It gives you a sense of security in multiplayer.
Especially in lower count multiplayer.
Sure.
Where you might have to split up a little bit more intensely.
I also just... Zoe's weakness, where it sends the thing farthest away. And you're like, nah. just stab it through the ether. Like, imagine this when we played Essex at Iron Man, and we got the Wizard of the Order.
Wizard of the Order.
In the engine car, right? Oh, revealed location.
Yeah. Okay,
That's
so there's
key.
another. Yep.
Yeah.
Therein lies the rub.
This would be good in what's it called, Rukuru.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or Carnival.
Yep.
Yep.
Or
any other scenario
Arkham
other
scenario.
than Essex.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lighthouse.
It's not bad,
Yeah.
as long as it's one of those where they're revealed.
Nice.
Goodbye, Man in the Pallid Mask. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh no! Yeah, sure. Why not?
He
Just ice him.
At the end of Curtain Call, he goes back to the entrance or whatever
The
after you take
lobby?
him out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've probably already been there, so yeah, then you just okay, one action, game over.
But every time he comes out, doesn't he spawn farthest from you?
Yes.
Farthest from all. Yeah. So like,
Which
take this in the Carcosa campaign.
yeah.
It's just like, ooh, I'm a mystic.
I mean, a lot of times he'll probably end up spawning on unrevealed locations, but I was thinking Curtain Call specifically, you've probably been to the lobby by the time he goes there. You know what I mean?
But also,
So
that's the first scenario, so this is 4 XP. That's.
right.
Okay, no wait, parallel Roland.
Or
Or
Take-
Mateo.
take double whatever that in the thick
Mateo
of it
can
or
take
whatever.
this.
Or is that limit once?
Another thing of it is limit once. And
Damn
it's 3
it.
XP.
In the thick of
But,
it, and like a price to bargain for. No, that's not what
You
it's
get
called.
Well, you get the weakness after you build your deck.
Damn it!
I, though, house rule that one that you get that XP. And
Like,
you can
what's
go
the
upgrade something.
point? Yeah,
I know.
definitely. That's
An offer you can't
count-
refuse.
count that among rules that I would definitely willfully ignore.
Yeah. Anyways, big fan of the Fang.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And we've already covered butterfly swords. All right, so
Yeah.
let's start cracking into Yon Seeker cards,
Mm-hmm.
starting
Let
with
me-
Forced Learning.
Yeah, let me force this one on you.
Mm.
Forced
Oh my.
Learning is a null-costed seeker asset. You like it. Talent and ritual traded. Game text reads, permanent, limit 1 per deck, purchase at deck creation. Increase your deck size by 15! During each upkeep phase, instead of drawing 1, draw 2 cards and discard one of them.
Reduce your deck size to 22.5. That's how I read that card.
Is that actually how the math works?
Well, I mean, like, no, it ends up being. So normally you draw. So just player cards, usually 30. So then you draw 5. So you have 25 cards to get through. And then this thing, you'd be at 45 cards. After your starting hand, you're at 40. So it would take you 20 turns to get through your deck. So you get through your deck faster with this than with a normal deck. So
But if you run
But-
this and double versatile and 50 card Mandy,
then yes, you can get to
You get-
75.
you get
Cards?
through it. You get through it about as fast as everyone else gets through their normal deck.
Yeah, that's true.
What does that get you? I mean, 3 aces quicker, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, so
You know what I have used this in?
What have you used this in?
Is in Min. Because she
Oh
has
yeah.
because she has access
Survivor
to these
access.
survivor cards that play from the discard pile and stuff, and what's that? The doggy treats. The one wild icon, and you can pull them all back for one action from your discard pile, the skill.
Oh, Glimmer of Hope.
Glimmer of Hope, yeah. I call them doggy
Doggy
treats
Doggy treats?
because I use them in Ashcan
Oh,
as
sure.
easy ones to throw to Ready
Oh.
Duke, and then you can pull them all back for one.
See, the problem is now with Barkham out there in the wild, we actually
I
have
know.
a card that is
I
Doggy
know.
Treats.
That's what I was. I'm like, why are you using those cards, Scott? Those are explicitly busted.
Big Kahuna also mentions 85 is the cap for Mandy. Please explain your math, sir. I wish to totally try that deck. But yeah, this
No, you
I-
don't. You just love how weird it is.
I do. I love this card. I absolutely love
Yeah.
it.
So,
In fact, I would almost consider this in Ursula, like Dubs. My speed
interesting.
deck. Because
Okay, so help me understand. Like from a pure mathematical standpoint, it doesn't seem like a significant boost to like deck consistency, right? Because like you're going to see more cards, but you're also only going to have access to half of them at any
But
given time.
But you
So
get
help-
to choose which one you need at that moment.
Sure.
you get to
You
pick
s-
the half.
Yes.
Essentially is the idea.
You're still in control, Sean.
I like that.
There you go.
The other thing, though, is if you draw a weakness, you have to draw the weakness and you have to discard the other card.
True, because you cannot choose to discard a weakness from your hand.
Yeah.
Which, that's fine, but that's fine.
I mean, you've got fewer weaknesses per your deck size,
Right.
so you'll still see them, but you'll see more cards in your deck relative to the number of weaknesses you see, right? Is that how that works?
Yeah,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
I love
It's just-
I love when the math gets a little bit shaky. We're like,
But it's so good because it's like you get to the cards you need when you need them more like quickly with this. More
know,
reliably.
actually, I think you would see weaknesses more often because you're going through your deck at a faster pace,
Twice as
and you are
fast.
going to see every weakness, and you're right. And so it takes you 22 and a half turns to get through, and you're going to hit every single weakness, as opposed to a normal deck, which is it's going to take you 25 turns, and you're going to see every weakness. Now that's not including also like drawing other cards during the game,
Right.
but I mean that doesn't change whether you have this or not.
Would you put, if you were running just a plain Jane Seeker, let's say Daisy with this, so
Yep.
you went from 30 to 45, would you put any other card draw in your deck?
Hell
yeah,
yes.
maybe-
that's my question. Does this like replace slots in your deck that would otherwise be reserved for card draw?
You
just keep doing it?
I think it's similar to how some people use versatile, where they're like, versatile will give me 2, was it perception, 2 guts, and then the card I actually want. So the downside of versatile is you're thinning, you're adding cards to your deck, right? So your every card is a little bit less powerful because you can draw it a little less time,
Yeah.
blah, 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 math. We talked about that before. So that one card that you added is a bit more powerful. This, with the card draw, for this one, like, yeah, what it's allowing, it's not helping you draw cards. It's just helping you filter cards.
Yes.
So there are still times that I would look at two cards like, oh, a skill I don't need, and a drawing this, no, what's it called? The draw 3 if there's a clue on your prep sketches.
Preposterous sketches, yep.
Right? Like, there's sometimes I still want to fill up my hand because I've been using cards. Because this doesn't fill up my hand any better. So I think you still, if you want to be the person drawing cards, you still need to have that card draw.
Because this is filtering, not card draw.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Do you think that this opens the door for more of the niche cards that you're like, yeah, okay, that's what I was going to say. Like the Truth Beckons, Vantage Point, which
cheeky
those are,
one-ofs.
Yeah, Unearth the
cheeky
Ancients. Yeah, this because now you can draw it and be like, okay, I drew Shortcut and I drew Unearth the Ancients. Well, I happen to have a relic in hand. So I don't need to go anywhere right now. You know what I mean? Or, so it lets you see, you're more likely to see the cards when you need them. And that's the biggest downside to those more niche cards. So
Love it. Mm-hmm. So my question is, does a card like this help or hurt like a hard combo deck? Like if you're trying to pull together 2-3 card combo.
Hurt. Because you might draw two pieces
at the same time.
Yeah.
Sure. So
and I was going to say help.
Well, and that's what's interesting about it, because like if you're lucky, then yes. Mm-hmm. But
if
maybe
you're really
not.
unlucky.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd have just as many times where it's not as good.
If you're playing a combo, if you're playing a hard combo deck with this, I think you're playing the hard combo deck on like extreme mode.
Yeah,
like
I don't know, but also, like, what are the odds of you getting so unlucky that you draw two essential pieces at the same time in a 45 card deck? Like, there's also that math. Do that. So it might, so it might actually, it might actually be better. I do want to address a comment though. J. Paul says it in the chat. So I played it with Moonstone Ursula, and it is annoying to losing other cards to weaknesses. And I agree that feels bad, but I also have to think, like, with this card, you have to immediately think, I'm not gonna get to use half my deck from the more or less, right? Like, you have to go in with that mindset. And when you draw a weakness normally without this, you're missing out on that card draw in the upkeep phase. And when you draw a weakness with this one, you're still also missing out on that card draw, right? Like, nothing has changed in that sense. Just a random card has gone into your discard pile.
Unless it's a key piece to your rig, in which case, like, you have to wait until you see the other copy of it.
Which will happen faster.
Well, ideally.
So that's where I think you need a lot of, what's it called? When you have backups and backups of things.
Contingencies.
Yeah, contingencies, but you have... I forget the other word I'm thinking of, but
Plan
redundancy.
B.
Thank you.
Redundancy.
Yeah, like,
so maybe
you run 2 mag glasses, you run 2 Hawkeye folding cameras instead of picking one or the other.
And two fingerprint kits.
Sure.
Yeah.
So maybe this is less pointing you in the direction of like, hey, if you need to get these 3 specific cards into play, maybe this isn't the best way to do it. But if you just like need to get some combination of 3 of these 6 cards into play and you're operating, then this will get you there faster.
If you want to do that first one and you're just willing to risk failing, at the bonus of getting to that quicker, like the speed of it, because this will get you there quicker, but you have that chance of like, whoopsie daisy, it's just going away.
Fail early, fail often.
Yeah, but you're willing to take that, like this is, fortune favors the bold, all that stuff.
This to me feels like a Hearthstone thing. Because I used to play Warlock a lot in Hearthstone, and they were the card draw class.
Yes.
And the thing with Hearthstone is when you hit your hand limit and you draw a card, you just see it burn up in front of you.
Yep.
And there were so many times that I'd be running a full hand and I would be okay just seeing cards burn up because it's like, I have the pieces I need right here. Because I drew so much, I got to what I needed, so I'm okay seeing the rest of the stuff just go. You know what I mean? There's also the downside where in Hearthstone, your deck is your health, kind of, because you start taking damage eventually. So there's that. But anyway, my point is like, this is your Warlock card, you know, essentially. Turns you into a Warlock, and I think that's great.
Do you think that because you know, Seeker in general has access to so many different card draw effects like Cryptic Research or No Stone Unturned or Deep Knowledge or Prep Sketches, and just like you could keep going, Mr. Rook, do you think that this maybe is more valuable to those who could take this in an off class or you know not main class capacity?
I have been low key excited in this discussion to build a Roland deck with this. Because when I build Roland, he has access to Seeker, so he has access to a lot of card draw. But when I build him, I get so excited about using so many of the cool Guardian tricks that I don't put a lot of card draw in there from the Seeker side. I put a lot of clue getting. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if I were to make a Roland deck with this, I could have my cake and eat it too, in that I could have those niche Guardian tricks that I want to play around with, and also I could still get that card draw from the Seeker side of it.
Yeah.
You know what deck I slipped this into that I think I'm quite proud of how I when I saw this card and where I slipped it in, and I'm hoping for some oohs and ahs. Do you guys remember that Desperate Duke deck?
Yeah.
I used to play?
Oh,
Sure
yeah.
Sure do.
Yeah. So with Yodel, where I can add the icons from the top card of my discard pile.
Wow, yeah. All right.
That's
Okay, all right.
nice.
I'm into it.
Also, take In the Thick of It, and he takes 2 mental trauma. All of a sudden, the beginning of the game,
He's desperate.
He's got Desperate. So you can run all your Desperate skills,
Oh
and
my
you're filtering
God.
through your thing. Dude,
Yo.
amazing. It's amazing.
You're taking an already top tier deck and you're just elevating it.
Yeah.
Yo.
Love it.
That Dunwich splash though.
Yeah.
Good lord. Still to this day blowing my mind.
See, like, I just feel like I open this box, and immediately I'm like, oh, I need that deck I made from 3 years ago. I didn't make it. I tuned it
Discovered,
to what I want. Yeah, but yeah.
One of my favorite things is when old cards get new life, even if the life they had before was pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Who
So-
likes the Desperate skills though? Right? Like,
Yeah.
Just Duke.
No.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm gonna suggest that we end on this next one because we're at 2 hours, and this is another one that's probably gonna spark some discussion, and it's our good friend.
It sure is.
Jeremy's Wern is a Jeremiah Kirby is a 4-cost level 0 Seeker asset with an Intellect icon. I've met the guy. He should probably have like 7 Intellect icons.
Yeah, no doubt.
Ally, Miskatonic, Wayfarer. I've played against him too. It's terrible. You get +1 Intellect. Reaction: after Jeremiah Kirby enters play, choose even or odd. Reveal the top 5 cards from your deck. Draw each card with a cost that matches the chosen option. Shuffle the remaining cards in your deck. Has 2 health, 1 sanity, and takes up the ally slot.
So, when you take this, when you're like, hey, Jeremy, let's go on an Arkham adventure. Do you build a deck
Yes.
of all even or all
Yes, you
odd
do.
cards?
I mean, not all, but you can go like
Yeah.
you can heavily slant your cost curve to fall into the categories, and it makes him bonkers good.
Yeah.
And I would hazard a guess that you end up slanting toward even more often,
Right,
because that's
because
gonna
there's a
push
lot
you
of 2s.
2s and 0s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Keynote though, skills are null costed.
Right,
They are
sure.
neither either or odd because they just don't have a cost.
Right.
So.
Okay, no, never mind. I was going to say, well, okay, no. Jenny could take Jenny and Jeremy. What would the X be on her 45s?
Oh,
X
when
equals
it's-
0,
When it's not defined, it's 0. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So it'd be
Well, there
even.
you go.
which is
Never
pretty
mind
good.
then.
I've run 2 copies of Jeremiah here in my current Lola deck through Edge, and it's been very good. I think probably about 75% of my deck is even costed, and then the rest are odd. And like still, just guessing even is great. The fact that this is a card draw card where you don't have to worry about drawing weaknesses has been fantastic because. I mean, very, very, very light spoiler. Tekeli Lee cards in Edge like complicate that slightly in kind of bloating your deck a little bit.
Is that how you say that?
Tekeli Lee?
I've been saying it wrong, and I've been recording dissonant voices.
Oh no! What did you say?
Tekalili.
I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
I think variety is good.
I've been
All
saying
right.
that.
I've been saying to Kalele.
Oh no!
I'm just kidding. I haven't been saying anything.
I think the reason why MJ says it the way I do is because in the D&D campaign I ran, there was an enemy called Tekalili, and that's what I kept saying. So,
Tekalili. I
maybe
mean,
not.
it makes sense to me. I'm glad you said that before I got
Say
to the
it your way
majority of my
again,
report.
Sean.
Tekeli Lee.
Tekalili. I kind of like that because it's different. It's different than what I thought. Anyway. Yeah,
So-
no, those can be problematic, yeah.
So Jeff asks a important question. They ask, is $4 for 4-ish cards that exciting? Prep Sketches doesn't eat any slots at all.
Prep Sketches doesn't passively boost your int.
I think that's the thing.
Passive int boot is big. Boot. I said boot.
Give me the int boot.
Give me the boot. Passive int boost is great. Also, a health soak in Seeker is significant, I feel.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, half the reason I run... Oh, God, what's his name? The one cost 2/2, working on something big.
Oh,
Malison?
Malison.
Malison in Ursula is... Or whenever, but usually Ursula, he's a 2/2. Like
Yeah.
that 2 health instead of a 1/2, which most of the Seekers are. Yeah.
Prep Sketches also requires a clue on your location, which I know that's not a big ask, but that does mean that there will be the occasion when you can't play it. And you
Sometimes
have
it
to
is a
maneuver.
big ask as a Seeker, because
Sometimes.
you've eaten up all the clues, right? Like,
Yeah. And you're like,
Your
damn it, I should have
insatiable hunger just gets in your way.
unplugged the damn vacuum.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's pros and cons, but if you're only worried about card draw and you don't need the int and you don't need the soak, and you just don't like Jeremy for whatever reason, you monster, then run Prep Sketches.
I feel like if you're looking at Milan, but you find your deck doesn't like need the resource boost, then go Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, there's a way to get your deck curve so low with
Yeah.
Seeker, that like you have a lot of zeros, right? Like upgraded magnifying glass, upgraded Prep Sketches. You can throw that in there too. God, what else was the thing that went from 1 to 0?
If you play
there's-
him in Harvey, you could like draw whatever cards you get out of his ability, and then get like a kicker draw out of his Harvey's
Yeah.
ability.
What's the event? Burn the Midnight Oil.
Oh, yeah.
Shortcut, right? Like, I mean, burn the Midnight Oil. You're gonna get that 2 resources for all these 0-cost cards that you got to play. But still, right? It's crack the case.
Yeah. Jeff in chat is my favorite now. Needing a clue seems kind of like an ask. Builds a deck of all even cards.
All right.
Like I feel like I
That's-
could just go on Arkham DB right now and like build most of a deck of
Right.
like 0 or 2 cost Seeker cards
There's
and have a super functional deck. And if you go even, if you ever draw your second copy of Jeremiah with Jeremiah, you can draw it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So when he finally bites the dust, you can just windmill slam that down.
I love it. That's awesome.
He's a fun ally. Like,
It is, and it's perfect for Jeremy. Like, I know he designed. I'm sure he designed this card.
Oh,
and
God,
it's
yeah.
just
I
the
bet he did.
perfect ability. Like, it's so
Yeah.
Jeremy.
but I feel like it's the kind of what the Miskatonic trait has been hinting toward for a very long time, where it's just allies with a cool like enters play effect.
Yeah.
And then, like, maybe there's a boost, maybe there's something they do while they're in play, but for the most part, you just want to play them down, and then play the next one down,
Right.
and then maybe calling in favors and play the next one down, and yeah, I think he's like the capstone to that particular
Right.
archetype.
Yeah. Have either of you tried? Sean, you brought up Miskatonic allies. So have either of you tried the Miskatonic funding or whatever that permanent is that gives you 2 extra ally slots, but only to hold Miskatonic allies?
Yeah, I played all of the Investigator starter decks with only the cards that came in them the first campaign. So sure. I did end up taking it in Harvey.
It's funny because like you bring up how did you like it?
It's fine. I don't feel like it did a ton more than just Charisma would have done, but
sure.
I could see like in a deck where I had like the full card pool and a little bit more to play around with, I could see pulling extra value out of it.
Okay. I played with it, and you bring up how the Miskatonic allies are you play them, they do something, and then they just sit there. Yeah. Well, it's funny because then when you're running Miskatonic University funding, and you go boom art student, boom lab assistant, and you get 2 clues and 2 cards, and then you're like, all right.
Well,
now I've got a shield of 3 health and 6 sanity. Like
only
they
once
can just
per turn,
die. Well, yeah.
Because of the Miskatonic funding.
Wait, what? Why?
Doesn't it limit what you can put on allies?
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1 per.
I'm a jackass.
Well, no, I mean it's the thing where like it definitely gives you more than charisma, but like at what cost? Because the Miskatonic allies specifically, you want to just like chuck under the next thing that would kill them.
Right.
So I don't know. It's interesting. It kind of fights against itself a little bit, in my opinion. All right, excellent. Well, that was our segment 1 for Edge of the Earth Investigator expansion. We'll pick it up from there next time. Guys, let's move it into a little bit of Tentacle time. What has been grabbing you lately, Nick?
Let's see. I talked about Mass Effect last time. So I was downloading new games on the PlayStation. By new, I mean old, like games that I played but didn't really get super far in or whatever. So I re-downloaded Andromeda, Mass Effect Andromeda. I downloaded Enter the Gungeon. And then it was like, oh, you're running out of space. And my son was in the room. And Overwatch has been on the PlayStation for a while. And I'm like, I downloaded Overwatch like months ago because you kids begged me to get it back on the PlayStation. And no one ever plays it.
I play it.
No. This is me talking to my son. And Roland's like, I'll play it.
Don't yell at me, Daddy.
Okay, well, sure. And he still hasn't played it. But then that night I played it. And now I've been playing it pretty frequently. And I'm still terrible at it.
Yeah. Especially since the cross-play pool has like...
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Okay, look, I'm salty as fuck when I play that game anyway, but then like when I get just like ganked across the map by a Widowmaker who clearly was using a mouse, it's like, oh, right.
Well, and there's a whole new hero that I have no idea how she works, and now I'm like entered that old man stage where I can't be bothered to learn how she works. So anytime Echo is on anytime Echo's on the opposing team, I'm just like, ugh, I'm just gonna ignore her because I don't know what she does.
She's
and
flying
I don't know how to
Tracer.
counter her. Yeah, but she had like her attacks do this weird thing where they like collect around your screen and then they blow up or something.
Oh yeah, the she's got like sticky bombs.
Yeah, so whatever. Anyway, like Overwatch is Overwatch. It hasn't changed. Like it's if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Whatever. But what I have been investing, I know what great insight from Nick. What I have been investing more time in is so after I finished Edge of the Earth, not Empire, Edge of the Earth, with my first run of Jacqueline and Trish, and they fucking dominated that campaign. Like holy shit. That's it. You want a power combo? Especially when you're dealing with Frost tokens, you bring Jacqueline, because Frost tokens ain't nothing for Jacqueline. And then Trish is just amazing. So anyway, they dominated that campaign. I really enjoyed it. And now, since we talked last episode about playing the core set in Edge of the Earth, I built a Roland and Agnes deck, and they're gearing up to go into Edge of the Earth. But I decided
Have you started that campaign yet?
I haven't, because
I challenge you
okay
to play parallel Agnes and parallel Rowan?
Then I gotta like print the shit out and like cut it, and then I gotta rebuild the decks because I haven't built.
Okay, well,
but I like the idea.
Challenges aren't easy, Nick.
You know what? You're right. So I was going to get started on that, but I was like, I just finished Edge, and I'm worried that if I play it, like, now that I have access to the whole campaign at once, I'm worried that if I play it too much, I'm gonna burn out on it. And Edge has, like, there's a lot to it, but I feel like I can see all the variations. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like in playing through it once, I'm able to see all the branches and everything, like recognize where things deviate and all that.
All right, Doctor Strange.
And so I'm kind of, like, so I've been, long story short, too late. I've been focusing on Descent. And I'm like, I'm just going to power through Descent. So I've played like 5 scenarios in Descent in the last 4 days. It's good. And the good news, I know I talked about it before, but the really cool thing about it is that I've been playing two-handed Descent, so I've been playing with 2 heroes, and it takes up a lot of table space. But I hit a point last night where I was like, this isn't that hard. Like, it's pretty straightforward. The mechanics are easy, and once you, like, understand the gimmick of each hero, they're not that difficult to run. I was like, I bet I could do 3-handed. So I've played 3 3-handed games of Descent so far, and now I'm thinking about going 4-handed.
Wow, okay. I was about to say, which direction are you going? Are you going back to 2 or up to 4?
No, it doesn't. Here's the thing. It didn't add significant amount of playtime. My games are still averaging 2 hours, and that includes like setup and teardown, which there's a little bit more setup and teardown with Descent because it's so app driven and there's so much like crafting and you get components and items that only exist in the app. So after I finish a scenario, before I clean up, I'll usually sit back and go into town and do my crafting and change my equipment, mods and everything like that. So it didn't change the playtime at all. It felt a little easier. The reason why I went up to 3 is because the last scenario that I played at 2, was the first scenario I failed. And I was like, there were too many enemies on the board, and I just couldn't. I picked a weird combination of heroes, and I wasn't properly positioned to deal with them, and then the dice didn't go my way. So it was kind of one thing after another. So I was like, God, if I had this other hero in that scenario, that would have been manageable. So I was like, well, I'm going to start taking 3. And now I'm like, well, now I feel like I'm not leveling up everybody up evenly enough, or like advancing their feats rather evenly enough. So maybe I'm going to start taking 4. So it's fun.
That's how they get you. Well, I've only played one like preview game that we did at Arkham Knights of the new Descent, but like the turns seem to be pretty streamlined. Like it's not a ton of mental overhead to play as far as I experienced.
No, like I said, as long as you know the gimmick of each hero, it's pretty easy to be like, okay, all right, this is Chance's turn, and he wants to get all of his shadow cards facing this way so then he can have a big bomb-ass turn where they all flip over. This is Galadin's turn. He's going to want to, prep himself up so that he can close distance with the mirror blades and then backflip out and go back to the bow. That sort of thing. Like you understand the basics of each hero, and so it doesn't eat up as much of your brain activity to run them. I will say, word of caution to anybody who is playing it or interested in getting into it. Don't pay any attention to the people on BGG. I've seen 3 posts on BGG in the last, I don't know how many weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, of people saying, like, I only play on warfare mode in this game, and it's too easy, and it's the hardest difficulty, and I win every scenario. It's like, don't listen.
Why are those people always so loud?
Yeah, they're just flexing. Like, just play the game on whatever difficulty and have fun. Who cares? Yeah, the Glaurungs of the world.
That's like a 3-fold reference.
Yeah. But that's me. Descent is great. Overwatch is still there, and it's fine. And eventually I'll be back to Edge.
Fun. Scott?
Well, Nick, who released that top 100 video games of all time list?
That was IGN.
IGN. And Breath of the Wild, to no one's surprise, they rated the best game, best video game of all time.
Oh, did they really? I didn't even look at the list. I'm sorry. I'm a bad friend.
It's fine. That list only exists as a conversation piece.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I think most video game people can agree that Breath of the Wild is quite high up there.
It's very good.
Yes, I will agree
whether
to
you
that.
think it's number 1 or not, I mean, that's debatable. Everyone's list changed, whatever.
Yes.
And everyone knows how much I love Breath of the Wild. But there is this video game that I used to play back in the day that is near and dear to my heart.
Breath of the Wild.
No, well, that one too.
Oh.
But older, and this game came out with a Breath of the Wild version of itself, and that is Halo Infinite.
Oh boy.
What?
And
There's an
so-
open world Halo?
Yep.
I didn't know Infinite was open world. That's crazy.
Yeah. Now, I will say, it's obviously not as good as Breath of the Wild because,
Sure.
I mean, it's severely restricted by the fact it's a first-person shooter.
That
right?
is,
Like,
Yeah.
it's Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's there's not crafting and all that stuff. There are, like, you get Spartan cores and, like, these things you can use to purchase to upgrade a couple things on the suit.
Sure.
You have this grappling hook thing now, which you can either use to like attach to enemies and then you like zip up to kind of like Scorpion, except you go to them and then you melee them, and it's super fun. And then like I have it upgraded so it gives them an like it stuns them when I do that. But you can also use it to like climb things,
Sure.
and I upgraded it so it refreshes faster. And now it's
You're
basically
Spider-Man?
like your Spider-Man. Another, like, I'll fall off a cliff and I'm like, oh shit! I turn around and like catch a wall, and then it'll like, it's one of those things like if I aim it up, it propels me upwards, and then like once I pass the point of the grappling hook, I'm still going upwards, and it refreshes before I'm going down with any serious momentum, so that I can shoot it again. Like I've fallen almost at the bottom of the map and then crawled my way back up by grappling hooking. So it's stupid, but it's open world Halo, and you get these like forward operating bases, and so you have to like claim. It's kind of like the towers in Breath of the Wild, but as
sure.
you gain rep, or I forget what it's called, but this current, no, it's not even a currency, points, your forward operating bases, every time you fast travel to them, they will spawn with certain Marines with certain weapons, and then you
Oh.
can spawn certain weapons. You can spawn like warthogs and stuff like that, and like the more points you get by completing like rescuing Marines who are under attack, or going to this one place that's infested by enemies and killing everyone there, or whatever, your forward operating bases have more things to open, and eventually you get like I forget what it's called, the Hornet, the flying
Oh yeah.
warthog essentially.
Yep.
And like rocket launchers and stuff like that you can just be like, I want a rocket launcher, beep. And then you can stick, and they have this thing called a Razorback, which is a 6-seated warthog with no gun.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then you can, like, once you have enough Marine, you eventually
Load
you
it
can
up
spawn
with
enough Marines.
rocket marines.
Yeah, like 5 rocket Marines. And the thing about Marines is they never run out of ammo.
And
So
they
you
have amazing accuracy.
Yeah. So anyways,
Okay.
I'm not at that point yet.
Oh,
But I
okay.
am just like, it's funny too, because I did the same thing I did with Breath of the Wild, where it's like, oh, I'm doing the story mission. I'm doing this. There's 2 story missions before they unleash you into the open world. And I like got in the open world, did the first mission, and then it's like, hey, you should go to this dig site. I'm like, nah, and just like I'm now peeling off and just doing every single side quest. I'm just gonna come back to the main quest like with all my stuff leveled up, and like you level up your shield and all these other things. I'm just gonna come back and be like, oh hi, Master Chief is here with my 5 friends. So
Fun.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've only been able to put like I think 7 hours into it over the last couple weeks, but it's been
Oh,
a
you've
blast.
accomplished a lot for 6-7 hours. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I haven't played a Halo game since like 4-player Halo on the Xbox One. No, like the original Xbox.
Like OG Xbox. Yeah,
Yes. Sorry, I just midway into that sentence, I remember that Xbox One is its own thing.
That's why they named it that.
The Halo franchise had some pretty good single player games.
Yes,
Like
yes.
Halo Reach and ODST were amazing.
ODST was surprising that they went with like that smooth jazz sort of theme. It was that was such a cool shift in tone.
Yeah.
The last one I played was 3.
3 was good too.
Yeah, and because I was that was back when I was like, I'm gonna play and beat all the Halos on Legendary, and I played and beat Halo 3 on Legendary, and I'm like, I'm done.
Did you beat Halo 2 on Legendary?
Yes, I did.
Oh man, I have 2, but those Jackal snipers,
Fucking the worst.
like you just like peek 3 pixels of yourself
Yeah. Yep.
out from behind the corner and they headshot you. Like, it just... God, that was so frustrating.
Halo 2 is my favorite, I think.
Halo 2 was my favorite multiplayer.
Oh, really?
I think Halo Reach was my favorite campaign.
I liked Reach, but I was also kind of like, I know all this already. Like, I read the book. I know, like, this isn't... I get it. You know what I mean? But it was really fun. But Halo 2 was like... Because Halo 2 was... We're going to take the story of Halo, and now we're going to blow it up and, like, show you so much of the world and so much of the Covenant and everything. Plus, it was the first one with Keith David. Yeah.
Oh, I do love me some Keith David.
Yeah.
The only thing I have about Halo 2, the campaign, was that you had to play as the Arbiter.
That's what I'm talking about. He was the best.
Well, I kind of liked it. But I also kind of like, man, like, I mean...
Did Keith David play a wise alien?
Yeah.
As
who was
his destiny?
He was not exiled, but he allowed one of the Covenant ships to be destroyed, like it happened under his watch, and so he gets this shameful position of the greatest warrior in the history of the Covenant, the Arbiter. It's a weird thing, but it's really cool.
Well, the Arbiter is always sent on a mission that they'll die on. Yeah. Like, go kill the Master Chief, and I don't care if you die doing it, as long as you get the job done. And it's just this, suicide missions all the time. Halo Infinite, super fun. Haven't touched multiplayer yet.
So then for my part, I mentioned Returnal last time, which is a PS5 exclusive. It's got a lot of adjectives. It's really fun. Had a good time. I still don't know what the fuck's happening in that game. I think I'm going to have to sit down with Justin at some point and see what he figured out as well. Would recommend. Can't really talk about it because I just can't spoil it for you guys. So, play Returnal when you can. And then I also picked up, in my ongoing quest to play all the From Software games, finally picked up Dark Souls 2 with my friend Kip. We played a couple of sessions. Initial impressions is that it's not my favorite Dark Souls ever. There's a lot of little changes that they made that were made in the opposite direction of where I would have put them. The movement and action feel a little bit more clunky. But overall, still pretty fun. Still a Souls game for some reason. Despite my frustration and my everything with it, it just captivates me. So I'm playing it. And that's how it's going to be. Dark Souls 2, I guess I'll report back more when I get farther into it. We're only 8 hours in at this point. Alright, anyway, that's all from me. So thank you all for joining us for episode 121 of Mythos Busters, and we will catch you all next time.